What's going on? I am Nando.
And I'm DJ.
And I'm Diggins.
And this is Mostly Nitpicking, a podcast where every week we pick apart a piece of pop culture by looking exclusively at the details. Woohoo!
Woohoo! Yeah, hooray!
We did it! We're in 2021. I mean, we were in 2021 last time, but now we're moving beyond thinking about 2020, and these are the 2021 movies, baby.
Yeah, it's our first 2021 movie podcast.
Yeah, and we're starting with this 2021 classic.
Yeah, right? Listen, it's never been more relevant.
I think that couldn't be less true.
Yeah,
well, because
I agree.
It's got all these big stars. It's full of relevant stars relevant to today, which we'll get to. Yeah, and a shocking amount of stars.
Yeah, right. The cast list in this movie is crazy.
Yeah, it's bizarre. Maybe the least upsetting part for me was just like this kind of like, you know, where's Waldo little celebrity hunt. But either way, we're talking about 1990. When is this? 95?
97.
1997's Spice World. I'm assuming the movie was what it was postered as, but
no, it's just Spice World, boy.
It's just Spice World. That's all you need.
Because Spice World, one word is the album. Spice World, 2 words is the movie.
Oh, okay.
Well, wait, no, I think Nando might be right, because I see a poster here that, like,
it says Spice
the
World.
movie is bigger than...
Yeah. Sometimes you just know a movie has to be referred to as the movie, otherwise no one would get it.
Here, I just posted it. Like,
I'm just
the
letting
words
you
the
know,
movie.
the official name of the movie is just Spice World.
Yeah, like,
so
if you go on to IMDb, it's Spice World.
I mean, really, what we're, like, this is the movie, Spice World, if you're going by the posters. I'm assuming the advertising. I should watch the trailer for this. Too late. Why are we even talking about Spice World, you guys?
There's a few reasons. One is because I love my wife. The other part is people paid us money. Well, not us money, but the children
I hope not
money.
us money.
Well, no, Extra Life does not earn us money, no.
DJ took a little off the top.
How dare you?
Yeah. Personal slush fund.
So we're doing this because we got some very generous donations from Roger, friend of the show, who, by the way, he kept his end of the bargain, and
I saw that.
He took down all of the 2021 predictions, and reading them on paper, I got really sad because I'm like, oh my god, these are all going to be wrong. Like,
yeah, mine are
somehow going to strike out.
Right. Mine are all
mine.
right.
Diggins, yours is already yours broke first. I want to say.
Which one?
WandaVision's getting rave reviews. It's being called Lynchian. It's apparently
okay. This is a
Diggins
prediction
said that
for
this was the year Marvel finally died.
This is a prediction for 2021. We gotta wait till the end of 2021
I'm just
to
saying,
see if the fatigue sets in. I don't think you can say I failed because the first thing that comes out is getting good reviews. That doesn't even mean it's going to be popular.
It's going to be a humongous success, you guys.
In your defense, Diggins, and Roger, this is I love you, man. You know that. This is nothing to what you did, but the intent of what Diggins said was not that Marvel would, like, fail, but it's that, like, a fatigue would set in, and it's like, we're not quite where we were at, like, 2019 levels. So.
Well, it's the finally dies one, right? That was what that prediction was. So
right, but
that's what
Diggins
it means.
said. That,
listen,
what he said was this is more inflammatory than how it sounds.
Regardless of how you take mine, I don't think WandaVision gets good reviews means my prediction is officially wrong.
Oh, it's not officially wrong, but it's off to a. I think your prediction would be largely vindicated if WandaVision got bad reviews.
At no point did I even say that Marvel's content would be bad. I merely said that people would be kind of tired of it. And WandaVision getting good reviews,
back, baby.
WandaVision getting good reviews doesn't mean that. That means that critics think it's a good show. It doesn't mean that the public isn't tired of it.
I don't know. I mean, we'll see. The quality of the reviews has been very, very much I guess the reviews have been the anti-review of your thing, which is like a breath of fresh air. The Marvel Universe is doing new things, and I'm excited for it again. I guess that's more what I was getting at.
I will say WandaVision is like the only Marvel thing in a long time where I'm like, that actually seems kind of new and interesting. So even if WandaVision's good, I'm still going to be like, what about the rest of it, though?
I would also like
to have any fun.
I would like to say it's January. We have another 7 years to get to December, so let's see what happens. Right? Let's see what happens.
Well, what was yours, DJ? You had one that was already broken.
Oh, it was Fortnite, and there's no way.
I mean, listen, in the same vein,
worse.
We gotta wait till December. That could still be true, but the largest concurrent viewers on a Twitch stream ever, like over 3 million people, was on a Fortnite stream like a couple days ago.
The fire is always darkest before the dawn, right? Or something like that, or I don't know, candle in the wind.
It's always darkest before the dawn. What I should have said was Destiny, because those numbers are awful, but I have a Destiny bias and I can't see past it.
Destiny's, I mean, that would have been a much less interesting prediction, because Destiny has a massive player base to begin with.
I should have said, Genshin Impact. Like, that might have been one that's, like, right there where it's like, oh, a lot of people do this, but, like, something that could definitely fizzle out by the end of 2021.
Oh, but they're never going to lose the whales who spend $10,000 a day.
I know, right? They'll be there forever.
I don't know what Genshin Impact is. What is this?
I think we talked about it once briefly, but it's basically like one of those like freemium games where it's like starts free, but to like play it in any meaningful way, you have to basically become a professional gambler. And
what's the game? Like, what is it?
It's like an anime-style game, where you get characters, and the characters face off against, like, other characters and have to do things, and you're trying to get good rolls on the characters, and people drop, like, thousands of dollars in Twitch streams to, I Genshin Impact so well.
From what I hear, the gameplay is actually really good, but the monetization is really scummy.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's a game I'll never play.
Never say never, DJ.
Yeah, I guess so.
Maybe we'll all become professional Genshin, whatever it's called, Uprising streamers or whatever.
Genshin Impact.
Impact, there we go. Fortnite, I think Fortnite could die. I do. The more that one sits with me, the more I'm like, yeah, it just doesn't have it.
We'll see.
What's the spark? But I don't know. We will see. And thank you, Roger, for doing that bit of homework.
Yeah,
and you will be
rewarded
by us saying things about this movie. I mean, you'll be rewarded for that otherwise, but like little extra, this one's just, it's unusual that we talk about a movie so far out of the zeitgeist that I can't name any of the Spice Girls by first name, or I couldn't before seeing the movie. Like, I forgot all their names.
The only one I could recall...
I guess that's not true, because I know one of them was Victoria Beckham, right?
One of them still is Victoria Beckham.
Yeah, and she continues to be that. So, you could make an argument, and a very loose one, and this would have been better maybe like a year or 2 years ago, but it was pretty prevalent in The Boys, which you claimed was like the number one superhero whatever.
That's right.
It played a pretty big part in there. So there's that. And the only one that I was like, oh yeah, was Mel B, because she was a judge on America's Got Talent, I think, for a while. At least when I watched a lot, she was a judge.
Mel B, is that
something
Scary
in my head?
Spice?
Yes, that's Scary Spice.
Okay.
I thought you were going to be like, she was a judge on the 7th Circuit of the DC Federal Court.
Can you imagine?
Was she like married to Eddie Murphy for a while or something?
Oh my God, was she? I don't know.
Yeah, I couldn't remember. This is how bad I am at Spice Girls.
I don't have the butcher, like, just encyclopedic knowledge of all of the Spice Girls.
No, I mean,
he just has that shit, like,
the thing he said about Ginger Spice in the show, I'm like, oh yeah, I can see it now.
She was married to Eddie Murphy for a year. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. 2006 to 2007.
Huh.
I think they dated for a while before that. I think they were a thing.
Back
I'm
sorry.
in the Pluto Nash days.
They were never married. They were just like together. Like, they dated. They weren't
Oh.
married. So, my bad.
Okay.
They dated.
Damn.
I mean, still
Daddy
surprising.
daycare
That's
days.
Yeah. Is she still on America's Got Talent? No.
Mel
Can't even
B.
get her own Got Talent. She's from Britain, right? Why did they
Yeah,
not
why
like
can't-
her enough?
Why can't she get on
I
there
always
but
think-
Got Talent?
I think that the way those shows work is that they just, like, have to recycle the judges in order to kind of be interesting.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, new person. So that's my guess.
Yeah, I guess
American
it was an
Idol
outside
lasted a
perspective.
long time with their original three.
That's true. Also, not in the zeitgeist. Mel B was the seahorse on The Masked Singer.
Oh,
Like the
dang.
most recent season.
Oh.
So we're idiots. Like
There
they're
we go.
in.
Well, then, perfect. I'm excited to talk
Yeah.
about it, knowing
Listen,
that.
I mean, they also did like a huge reunion tour 2 years ago, so
That
they
that
never
too.
they never fully left. They're just a very 90s thing.
yeah.
Yes.
And, yeah, we've been kind of kicking this can down the road for a while.
Yeah.
There was nothing in January of 2021, and also, I was curious. Kind of wanted to see what the story was, like what the deal was with it. So we watched 1997's Spice World.
For the
Guys.
children. It was
For the children,
For
that's
the
right.
children.
We're doing it for
Those
the
poor,
children.
poor drowned children. Just kidding. Remember in the movie where that happens?
Yeah. They're
That's
fine
weird.
though.
Couldn't care less. The least. How do you get a child actor, and it's like you have to tell them to do more? I couldn't even. But yeah. So where do we start with this one?
So like the okay, so I think we could go with like our general impressions of the movie. And
At the very beginning. A very good
at-
place to start.
yeah, and I thought maybe for this we could get an expert on this. My wife, who's like giant Spice Girls fan, and this has been a thing. I don't know how much you guys have known, but she's wanted like us to nitpick this movie forever, like forever. Because it's like, I mean, she'll be on in a second, but like Spice Girls is like one of her favorite things as a kid. Loves this movie, and because we do
boy.
a movie-based podcast, she thought it'd be appropriate for us to use this platform to do Spice World. So this has been like a thing.
She's gonna be yelling, "I renounce my wish" down the streets of DC when she hears us talk about this movie. Monkey's paw curls.
I think
was
that we should
incredible.
instead have talked about the I don't remember what year it was, but the jukebox musical that went up on West End based on the Spice Girls.
That's a real thing.
I bet that'd be cool.
I mean, there's no way we could watch it because it was a a play that went
Yeah.
up on West End in a country we don't live and cannot get to right now.
They get things
Also,
of that, right?
isn't
There's
playing
bootlegs
anymore.
that float around. But
Yeah, I mean, we might have been able to find it, but it would have been much more difficult than finding this movie.
I'd love to see it now. Because I'm not... Okay, let's start here. Well, do you want to introduce...
Yeah, so
Our guest? Okay, yeah.
I'll introduce our guest. So this is my wife, Michelle.
DJ.
Yeah,
Yeah, you got it
Oh,
right
my
the
bad.
first time. Do it again.
this is my wife, Michelle,
Thank
and
you.
I'll let her introduce herself, and then tell us a little bit about like what this movie means and why you've wanted us to do this movie for like a really long time.
Yeah, it's been, hi everyone. It's been ages since I've been asking, oh, I just dropped my phone. What?
Holding.
I'm just so excited. It's been ages since I've been asking for this movie to be done. I just want it to be clear to people listening that like, they weren't like, oh, let's just do this movie because Michelle wants them to do it. It's like, no, I've been requesting this, and only Roger made it happen, so thanks, guys.
Mm-hmm. Well, you wanted
Anyway.
it so bad, I said it had to be earned.
That's true.
yeah.
And
Yeah,
I
because
think...
it became like a thing.
And this is, speaking of Rogers, a Rogerful movie. There's at least one very high-profile Roger in here. that
he's gotta be,
blew
like,
my mind. So,
it's the most famous non-Spice Girl in the movie, right? Like,
I have trouble with that one.
No, I don't think
There-
so.
really?
He was famous. I think there's a couple people slightly more famous.
Oh, okay.
I think he has the biggest role of a famous person who is not a Spice Girl.
Okay.
Yeah. Sure. Go on, sorry.
Oh, it's okay. So I just wanted to say that. So this is a movie. I was telling this to DJ when we were watching it. This is a movie that I would binge when I was younger. Like, I had the VHS of it, and my dad and brother both knew all of the songs because I would watch it, rewind it, watch it again, and yeah, and so I lived this movie inside and out, and I loved it so much. And I do have to say that I was a little worried when you guys were actually going to review it. I was like, oh no, is it not going to live up to the hype of, like, what I've built it up to be? But no, it did. I had just as much fun watching it this time as I did when, like, I watched it when I was a kid.
So, what about our history? Do either of you have any history with the Spice World film?
I don't know.
Film? No, it's my first time watching it.
I probably saw it. I'm sure I saw it as a child. I had a sister, and she was, like, into the Spice Girls as much
You
as
have
your
a sister. Let's be
your
clear.
Well, have a
Nothing happened
sister.
to her.
Yeah, so I had a sister that was into the Spice Girls. I'm sure she still knows most of the songs, but you know, it was they were like. I mean, I have nothing against the Spice Girls, but I think it'd be hard to explain to someone who wasn't alive during 1997 or just like wasn't, you know, was like 2, how big they were and like what the whole deal was. Where like if you were a girl of her age at the time, yeah, you probably had some Spice Girls. You know, you had a favorite. You knew all the songs, and I know most of the songs. Like, but I didn't remember very many details about the movie. And I have a feeling I know why, but there's a couple of things that stuck out to me. The bit with the bus jumping over the thing. But besides that, yeah,
good.
so I like the Spice Girls enough. Yeah, no, like they're fine. Like they're like a boy band. Like, you know, back when there was like, not their boy band, but you know, you had like your Backstreet Boys, your NSYNC, Spice Girls. You remember all the songs, you enjoy them, and then they sometimes do a reunion concert, and that's something.
Yeah, like that's a formulaic thing through music forever, right? Like there's 4 to 5 members, or like now in your K-pop bands, you're like your 12 members, and they all have a type, right? And in Spice Girls,
And they
it was
all refuse to join the Korean military.
Exactly.
Well, that's why these guys were finished. One of them broke off to do her own thing, and the rest joined the Korean military.
Yeah, they had to.
They were right up there on the DMZ, 4 out of the 5. Brave soldiers all.
The thing with the Spice Girls is that, like, it was just so deliberate, like, what each type was. Like, they took the thing...
Was it though?
They were caricatures almost, right? Like, Baby
Some
was the
of
one who had all the
them
stuffed
were.
animals and the lollipop and the pigtails. And Sporty literally wore, like, track suits. And, like, Posh wore all fancy
going.
stuff. Like, all of the...
You did 3 out of 5. What are the other 2's deals?
Ginger is literally a ginger. Like,
It's
that's...
like, what's her...
Ginger's thing was that she had this very 90s feminism thing of like girl power, equality between the sexes, which is a literal line from the movie, and that was kind of like her kind of big thing. Like they all had some degree of that, but it was like she was like the big embodiment of that. And Scary Spice is well, I don't know. Can you guys think of any defining feature of Scary Spice that would cause her to be called scary?
Well, I mean, yeah, you use the word scary, so I'd have to assume she's the horror of she's got the big old like gloves that are knives or a hockey mask she likes to wear from time to time.
Her thing is being like very like energetic and aggressive.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah.
I think Ginger was the one that got to me, mostly because there were points in the movie where I was like, is she supposed to be like the hot one? like the most desirable of the spices.
Well,
And-
Nando, is that how you felt about her?
No, and that's the thing. I don't like. That's why I had so much trouble fitting her into like a specific character or box. There would be bits where they would be like, "What do you think about boys or something?" And she'd be like, "Oh, I like them when they're really cute and stuff." And then when the backup dancers were flirting with all of them, she was the only one that was really flirting back, if I remember correctly.
Did she flirt back?
So I couldn't quite. I like none. It's funny. All four of them that were like the four that were not her. were largely asexual. As like they had their one thing that they liked. They liked sports. And if a person walked up to them, they would say, "I like sports. I'm a sports fan," and then walk by. She's the only one that like had flirting and stuff.
Well,
I don't know.
We have a resident expert here. I think we should let her speak to this.
Yeah, what's Ginger's deal?
dichotomy here?
I mean, so when I watched it when I was younger, I did not have much. I didn't know what Ginger's deal was, except for that her hair color was red. But having had just rewatched it, I'm like, oh, she's the smart, factual one. Like, she always had that random Jeopardy knowledge that she threw at the
That's
group.
true.
She was definitely the toting girl power kind of thing that Diggins mentioned. I didn't really get the hints that she was flirting with it. There was the one scene where she was talking to one of the guys at the party, but it almost genuinely seemed like a conversation where she's like, "Men are afraid of us," and then the guy was like afraid of her, and that was the joke. But through the whole movie, none of the girls really flirted with guys, because the whole point of the movie is like girl power and you don't need a man, and like that was a strong message through the whole movie.
What about the bit with the backup dancers? Wasn't she?
I don't think any of them flirted.
I didn't
with them.
get
They were all kind of not
Flirting
into
from
it.
that. Yeah, right. That's how I read it. And just like, this is ridiculous. Like, why do you have these muscular men behind us? Like,
Yeah.
like I thought that was like the whole bit.
I'd have to go back and watch it, but I don't know. I guess, and it was that there was a part of me that was like, is she supposed to be the leader of the spices?
No.
Of the
Posh.
girls?
No.
Is it though?
Sporty.
Wait, Sporty's the
What?
leader?
I don't know.
Really?
Sporty.
They need to sort that
She
out.
had most of the main vocals in the songs.
Oh, did not know that.
Ginger
Like,
did kind
they-
of act
they
as
all
the
have
mom of
individual
the group.
parts. Like, they all sing individual parts, but she like does most of the vocals.
So like, she's the JT for if they're in sync. Justin Timberlake.
Well, if you
Yes.
go by post-group careers, Posh
Yeah.
is definitely the JT.
Right, but I mean in
Yes.
the dynamics, like
In the group.
because what one is like, I'm the lead, but I had always assumed that was Posh. Oh, damn. See, I don't know.
I kind of through the movie, I got that like the four that weren't Ginger were all not like one dimensional, but they were the ones that were like that it made Ginger feel like she was supposed to be the leader. I never got that from Sporty in the movie as like she is the, I don't know, clever or most not grounded, I guess, but like the Leonardo of the group.
I get what you're saying. Like the four, the not Ginger, they are all literally their thing. They are
Right,
just
like-
the caricature of their thing. But Ginger's like, she's more than just like Ginger. She has this other like side to her.
Well, it kind of is like the Ninja Turtles, right? Where it's like, what's Raph's deal? He's tough and he's Brooklyn, and the other one, what does he do? He skateboards and he eats pizza. He's a joker. What's Leonardo's deal? He's in charge of all of them, and that's kind of his personality. Otherwise, he is a well-meaning Ninja Turtle. So
Right.
I guess that's kind of what I got from her. Was she the most popular of the group?
I don't know if she was the most popular of the group, but I know I had every doll of the Spice Girls except for the Ginger doll, because I think it's sold as a collectible, and like my family could not get it for me as a gift.
It's the reason why Michelle harbors resentment for her family to this day. It's because they could not get the Ginger doll, and it's festered. It's bad, right?
Yeah, they weren't
You
even
haven't talked
invited to
your
the
mother
wedding,
in,
right?
Yeah. Oh, I
Yeah,
looked
it's
up.
like that Ginger doll.
I looked up pictures of the Spice Girls, and like just to try to figure out how much this movie kind of, I don't know, like what their personalities, how that transposed. And Ginger, I think, is famous most for wearing a British flag or something.
Yeah,
as
that
a
was
dress.
That was her dress on the doll that I don't have.
Yeah, so I bet
iconic
that's
Union
why
Jack dress.
part of why it's. But they didn't do that in the movie, right? I didn't miss that.
No,
I
they
don't
didn't
think
do
she
that
ever
in the
wore
movie.
it.
She also had, I guess, she's interesting because she dressed in a way that was strange. She seemed to, even though Posh was the most like, you know, Versace, Gucci, whatever. Ginger had the most provocative outfits, I guess, which was part of why I thought she was supposed to be like the, you know, the hot one, because she was like the one that wore like no pants to that one gala they were at. And then the guy was like, va va voom, oh my God, she's blowing my mind. She's amazing.
Awooga.
Yeah.
Auga.
That movie. Okay, how about this? What of
hold
the
on.
Spice Girls... Oh, sorry.
I think there's a very important question we need to ask Michelle.
Yeah.
If you had to cast the three of us as Spice Girls,
Oh,
which,
that's
one-
Oh,
which of them
man.
would you cast
I have-
each of us as?
Okay, I have to tell you, I've been thinking about this prior to coming on this
Oh,
episode.
my God.
She knew I would ask.
So, okay. So, Diggins, I think that you are the most like Ginger
Okay.
in your knowledge.
And he's the cute one.
Yeah.
That's the-
And he
as
is
we
the
all
cute
know.
one of us.
Yeah. At
No,
least
you
I
can see
think
me
that. So
now.
that's why you get to transpose that Ginger thing out to me. Yeah.
DJ, I think, is most like sporty. All the sports and sportiness of it.
I do love
He can do it.
tracksuits.
He does that back handspring so well.
Yeah.
I also do that very well.
Which leaves Posh, Baby, and Scary for Nando.
Okay, I'll take it.
Well, which one? Which one?
All three. I know it's tough.
You know, I'm gonna go Posh.
That's my pick too.
Okay.
That's what I was going to say too.
Yeah.
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 No,
Fact
this
the
means you
leader
get
of
to
the
marry
Spices.
David Beckham. So
Yeah,
Lucky.
and I
Yeah, that's
get
a
to,
pretty upside.
and I'm not one of the Mels. You know, I have my own name.
You
That's
don't have to
fun.
go through the army course. That's pretty good, right? You get to avoid the whole army course.
Oh no, I'm going to the army, right? Oh, that thing. Yeah, I
Yeah,
thought you
yeah,
meant
yeah.
the South Korea bit. I forgot
No,
about
no.
the. Oh my God, I forgot about that.
You know why? This is gonna be like one of my through lines, but I think the best part of this movie is that it's not actually a movie, but it's a bunch of skits. It's a bunch of sketches that are stitched together into a quasi narrative, and I think it makes it great. It feels like Monty Python, and I love that about it. That's why you
Yeah,
forget things. It's like
it's definitely a variety show kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like I that's correct.
I mean, it's a British production that has both Hugh Laurie and Stephen Fry in it, which
Yeah.
I believe under British law legally qualifies it as a sketch show.
And it's directed by the director of Fawlty Towers, which isn't the same exact kind of thing, but it's like it has its roots in British comedy. It's Did you have a favorite Spice Girl, Michelle?
Yeah,
And
Sporty
you don't have
Spice
to
is
say
my
sporty
favorite.
because you just said that's
Oh.
the one DJ is. Like you
Oh,
can.
well, I mean, that's just coincidence.
Oh, okay.
Sporty Spice was my favorite because when I was younger, I thought she had the best voice, and she was a Capricorn, and she was a tomboy. And when I was young, that was very important to me, and that was it. That was enough for me to be like, Sporty Spice is my favorite. And every girl latched on to one of the Spice Girls, so that was it.
I'm texting my sister right now, asking her who her favorite Spice Girl was.
I think Veronica's was Baby.
Oh, my sister was huge into the Spice Girls. To be clear, at the time it was happening, I remember this very well.
Text my sister
And-
too.
I have seen this. I know I've seen this movie because of that. Like I remember it. So
I think. Oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say I was well acquainted with the phenomenon as it was happening, much like Nando, because I had a sister.
Yeah, I don't want to say anybody that I don't think people would be necessarily embarrassed to say Baby Spice was their favorite, but I do think that the other ones are cooler now. I think your opinion could shift of the Spice Girls to a different one, but I think at the time that's my guess.
Well, listen, they're as you had intimated earlier, they are simply the fundamental archetypes, like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
So, we seek out these patterns in many aspects of our lives.
Right. As you go through life, you kind of identify with one Spice Girl, then the other one, and then another one.
And just because you were a Baby Spice when you were a teenager, that does not condemn you to Baby Spicehood for the rest of your life. You're allowed to evolve as a person. Perhaps in your 20s, you become more of a posh Spice. Perhaps in your 30s, you mellow out into more of a sporty Spice. Who can say?
I just got the text back. Her baby was her favorite. I knew it.
Nice.
All right. Yeah.
Who do you think was people's least favorite Spice Girl? Or least favorite?
Take a wild guess.
Or wait.
Also, I realize right now my sister is both a school teacher and the mother of a 3-month-old child, so she's probably asleep.
Oh well, we'll have to get back to it at another point when she's like, Diggins, this is my favorite.
Yes, my sister calls me Diggins.
It makes everything really confusing for them.
See, it's like the how George Foreman's kids are all named either George or Georgetta, so it must be a nightmare at Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And Diggins, I feel like you had a compounded problem. Well, actually, your sister, maybe she kept her last name when she married, but maybe she's a different last name now.
She is no longer a Diggins now, but that was a development of less than 2 years ago.
So growing up, right, it was probably a nightmare at dinners to be like, Diggins, can you pass the mashed potatoes? Like, which Diggins? And your whole family's just thrown into chaos because you're all Diggins.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly how it happened.
What a great thing.
Sorry. Go on, DJ.
No, I want to ignore my previous question because I realized it was dumb.
No, I think it's an interesting question because my sister brought up an interesting point.
Okay.
In a text, she says, so I asked her, who's your favorite baby? I knew it. Yeah. Nobody's favorite is Ginger. Sporty has a weird voice. Posh is too stuck up, so it's either Scary or Baby for most people, I think. Which, not a weird singing voice, but a weird speaking voice. I actually had a hard time understanding what Sporty was saying a lot of the time.
I love their not received pronunciation accents. I love that they're so working class in their accents.
So, were they all supposed to be from different parts? Was that a thing that we missed as Americans? That it's an accent from, Well,
she does do a thing later
Welsh
about how she's, at the very end, she does a thing about how she's from Leeds. Scary.
Right, but I
guess,
from
different areas, which I only know because I had a book that had all of their info in it when I was in that fandom.
Which, makes sense, right?
Many people are from different places. It's true.
Right, but, also, as Americans, we're Britain, it's all one thing. But, if they were Americans, it's if you had maybe one's from Texas, and one's from Florida, and one's from Maine, and they all
Could you imagine a boy band that's a boy dressed as a cowboy speaking with a Texas drawl, and then a surfer dude Californian, a big Swedish fella from Minnesota, a stuck-up wasp from New England.
You need an Italian from Brooklyn.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Hey, I'm walking here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And then
I would love that, actually. I would love if someone made that band.
I mean, I wonder if there were parts of NSYNC that were this and we just ignored them. Did they all sound the same? Did any of them have accents?
I don't think so. Not any thick accents from a geographical part of the country. It was just the generic.
Well, that's the other thing. I feel like the I've heard the Spice Girls sing. I know I've heard the songs a million times. And it's that thing where, they all sound kind of similar when they sing, and then they start talking in different accents. So maybe Howie spoke like a real Southern gentleman, like, or, you know, any of the different Backstreet Boys had like kind of their speaky voice and their singing voice. And we just never knew because nobody gave a shit about any of Buddy but Nick Carter and Brian. I don't know.
True.
Yeah. What does Chris Kirkpatrick sound like? Anybody have any guess?
Trying to see that's
yeah, that's the only thing I can think of too. Yeah.
Oh my god, it's crazy that that's in my brain. That I know that. Oh,
they bring beauty to my face. Shiny teeth that glisten. I know.
The rest of the podcast. I know. It's like if you just watch that enough times, it's just drilled into your brain.
Why would I talk to you when I've got 32? Woo! My shiny teeth and me. Okay, other question about the Spice Girls. Did you have a favorite Spice Girls song, Michelle?
It varied as I grew up. Like everyone loves "Wannabe" when they first hear it, but then it became overplayed. And I can't remember the names of their other songs.
Don't Go Chasing Waterfalls. Scenes from an Italian restaurant.
The one that they sing when they're in the studio when the pregnant woman walks in. That song, I like that song. Or like, the song that they sing when they're dancing in the club. I like that song. And like my brain's like, I don't know the name of that song, but I like it, and I know the words to it.
How does it go? How does like?
You're putting me on the spot. I can't.
What was the one you were singing earlier? Like,
I honestly blank slate right now.
Shiny teeth, yeah. Shiny teeth.
Yeah,
I mean, the other one, there's "Spice Up Your Life." That's a good one.
Yeah, classic.
Well, that was
I had
funny.
fun with that.
When we were watching the movie, they do "Wannabe" in the diner, and I'm like, "How are you doing this now? This song has to be for the end of the movie." And then Michelle was like, "No, there's one bigger," and I couldn't think of it. But then when they did it, I'm like, "Oh, duh, that is the end of the movie song."
Yeah.
Oh man, we usually talk about this movie in order, so I'll wait. But I want the diner scene.
Yeah,
I want to talk about it.
You know what the song?
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Nando. I'll wait for my thing.
No, what were you gonna say, DJ?
I was just gonna say, like anything that is like sketch comedy based, like Auntie Donna being the most recent thing that I saw, like with this movie, because it's just a lot of bits, I cannot tell you the order of events in this movie because the narrative is so thin and it's just filled with bits in between.
The order of events hardly matters.
No, not at all, right? It's like, and I have favorite parts of this movie, and I want to say, so a couple things. One, I love this movie. Two, Nando, at some point we got to do the IMDb summary, right? Because it's got to be insane.
Yeah, no, I've got it up. It's
okay.
Yeah, we'll get to it.
All right, we'll get to it. Sorry, what were you going to say?
Well, I was just going to say there's the oh God, I thought I had the song for a second, but I can't remember what it was. Was that one? Was the one you're thinking of? The Stop. You know that one?
Yeah. The Stop right now. Thank you very much. I need somebody with the humor. That's the bus song.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, then I got nothing.
See, that's how my brain works. I hear the song and I'm like, this is what part of the movie that's from.
No, it's the one that's the "This I Swear" song. That's the one they're doing, right?
Oh, this I swear.
Say you'll do everything. Da, 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 right? Is that the one they're doing at the record studio?
Was that?
Yeah, it is. I'm pretty
that's
sure
when
it
the
is
pregnant
the one.
lady shows up.
Yeah.
I like that one a lot
then
too.
It gets into the funk part.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Other stuff about the Spice Girls. What have they been up to?
Diggins mentioned they had the reunion tour 2 years ago.
Although Posh did not participate in that.
What?
Well,
who does she think she is?
she's probably too big.
She thinks she's
right?
David Beckham's wife. That's who she thinks she is, Nando.
Well, she could come down from Mount Olympus to hang out with the four normals. That's crazy. I mean, I guess fuck the Ginger Spice, but the other three, they didn't do anything wrong.
Listen, if they ever had an NSYNC reunion, there's no way in hell JT would participate.
Yeah.
It's true.
There's simply no way.
No. He's too busy hanging out with Jimmy Fallon and doing whatever.
Well, that's how you know he
do.
sucks. You gotta get off your high horse. They always come back. Like,
be the everyman.
yeah, you gotta be part of the group. I'm trying to think of. I guess Backstreet Boys all showed up, but none of them is more popular than the other ones.
It'd be like if Harry Styles bailed on like any kind of One Direction future things, right? If
Well,
he just said F it.
I guess it's worse with Harry Styles because he had a career afterwards, and Justin Timberlake had a career afterwards as musicians. Mm-hmm. But Victoria Beckham became a model, or was she always a model?
No, she had a music career afterwards too.
Oh, did she really?
We know this from
They were talking about Ginger in the Boys.
Oh
right?
Shit! You're right. Yep.
Yeah, she's the one that
bad.
left. I know.
Okay.
Ginger is the one who left first. Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually became not a flame out. Like
no,
good.
she did flame out. Well, according to what's his name.
I think she had modest success, but I don't think anywhere near the level that she had as part of the Spice Girls.
Well, none of them did, right?
In the show The Boys, the main character Billy, not the main character, one of the main characters, Billy Butcher, is explaining to the team why they need to stick together as a team, and he turns out to be a huge Spice Girls fan. And the way that he kind of introduces this album is he's like, "There's this album. Jerry left the Spice Girls, and she made this one, and she made this one, and she made this one, and they're all used to torture prisoners now because they're awful because you can't leave the group." So I don't know. I have a feeling there was probably a certain amount of like betrayal that people feel with her. Where it's like,
right.
You left the group and you destroyed the Spice Girls by starting your own solo career, so we'll never even accept your music. But I mean, I feel like we'd have come around on her by now. It probably just wasn't that great.
It's so rare for a person to break up the group to be accepted after. I mean, I don't know. Were people cool with John Lennon between 1970 and 1980?
It depends on. It's kind of annoying.
It depends on what specific time period you're talking about here. If we're talking about 1980 specifically, some things might have happened.
All right, bad example. So,
yeah.
Did Harry Styles break up One Direction, or he broke them up?
Yeah,
I thought there was another one named Zayn that left One Direction.
I don't know. I don't have enough of a One Direction knowledge.
I think the One Directions were already kind of
that was like a mutual, like they're all like
in
we're done.
tatters. Yeah, I think from what I remember, the way I remember this in the news was that Jerry decided that she was she was a rocket going to the moon, and the Spice Girls were in the past, and she had a future. And I would imagine, I'm not a fan, but I would imagine some fans probably resented her for that.
I mean, yeah, probably. You don't want your thing to end.
Yeah, and it's like, it's hard with like Justin Timberlake as being the example, but like when a person who is a part of a team decides they're bigger than the team, that's just never a great vibe in sports, for sure.
Yeah,
you're part of. You came up with these guys, you stay with them as long as you can. That's, I think, I mean, we talked about the Beatles kind of, but that's part of why people like myself enjoy U2. Besides the fact that Bono's a big lunatic, none of the group they never broke up, they never fought, nobody did a solo career. They were always just making music together. That's kind of nice.
Yeah, you can pull those examples, and those are good. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's one of those things too, where it's like now, right? Just everyone just has good memories of the Spice Girls. Like, there's obviously, I think there's very little resentment now. But yeah, I don't know how we got here. Oh, talking about them post career.
Yeah. How about this? If all the Spice Girls fought, who would win in a fight?
Sporty.
Well, Sporty, obviously.
Would she though?
Like a fist fight? You talking about a fist fight?
Yeah. They all have.
Mm.
Yeah, Scary's that seems like tougher. Sporty can do backflips.
She's the aggressive one.
Well, just because she wears leopard print? That's like the whole...
No, that's literally her whole shtick. She's loud and aggressive.
I don't know. If you look at a picture of Sporty on her Wikipedia page from 2017, she's kind of jacked.
So is it today or
jacked?
What?
I would say at the height of their career, whenever 1997, if they all fought to the death, they had to. Like, it wasn't like... So, like, it's not like Baby can be like, I don't want
They've all
like,
been
they all
kidnapped by, who, Mojo?
Yes,
and he's
that's
forcing them to duel to the death on live television for the entertainment of the masses.
Yeah.
They have no choice in the matter. No one is coming to save them. Not Longshot, not any of the X-Men. Nobody. Who wins?
Well, Diggins, I looked up this picture of Mel C on Wikipedia, and oh my god, she would win.
I think there's a case for Posh. I don't
Really?
know.
So you're looking at the people and not the characters. Like, you're looking at Mel C, you're not looking at Sporty Spice. And the question was which Spice Girl would win.
Oh, I see.
I think Sporty Spice and Scary Spice both feel kind of undisciplined, whereas a Posh is like a clever, calculating
I don't
type.
think Posh
And I
would
think
want
maybe
to fight.
well,
But
I
you
mean,
have
they all
to.
have
It's
they all have to
deathmatch,
fight
right?
because none of them
It's
want to
fight to
fight.
the death,
I mean, Ginger probably wants to fight, but the other four probably want to stay together as a band.
I don't know. I feel like if we're talking specifically of the characters, I feel like of all the Spice Girls, I feel like Posh and Baby gave me the biggest like kind of ditzy energy in their personas. So I don't know that she would be
Yeah, I get that.
particularly calculating.
Posh seems like the most potential to be cruel and to be vindictive and stuff. So
you
maybe
think-
that's what I'm seeing from her.
Okay, I can. That's an argument I can see. That you
Posh
think
is
that
the one
she-
I'd say that could kill. Yeah.
there would be the least hesitation in her eyes as she strangled the life from her friends.
That's exactly it. Yeah, she's rich. She's part of that kind of upper class that hunts people for sport. Like, and yeah, I think the other ones may try to kill or like fight, but I think Posh has.
But their weak emotions would kill them in the end.
Yeah.
I will say a good argument for that is going back to the Army skit, which I don't know why I latch onto this one so much. Actually, there's two, right? So the Army skit, she doesn't even do the course. And so, like, she knows how to not follow the rules, right?
That's
but the
right.
other four are such rule followers. They're like, oh, we have to use fists, and she would probably pull out a hairpin and stab someone in the eye. And the other one was she clearly has nerves of steel because she drives the bus at the end.
That's right.
Also, by the way, I think that's the main reason why I thought she was the leader. Because I'm like, she's literally driving the bus. She has to be the leader. Like, if you're driving the bus, you're the leader.
So I think for me with the leader, I just kind of assumed whichever Spice Girl, when they lined up, was in the middle was the leader. And I don't know if that was usually Ginger, but I think maybe it was Ginger at least once or twice. And I was like, oh, so it's her. Because I feel like that's how a boy band works. They radiate like talent from the center.
But yeah, it's like the sun. Everything
Or
revolves
a
around
girl
it.
band, but just I don't even know. Is there a name for these when it's not boy specifically?
Pop band?
Yeah, I guess like a teenage pop kind of band.
Yeah.
Because like with the
I think
Jackson 5,
when it's all
just-
girls like this, it's a girl group.
Right. But I'm saying
Okay,
like
yeah.
comparing this to boy bands. I know that's what
Right, just
boy
the
bands have
generic,
taught
like,
me.
umbrella.
Yeah,
right,
is
right,
the
right,
power is
sorry.
in the center of the boy bands, and the So I wonder how when they line up, who is in the middle, in like different musical numbers.
Well,
And
now there's
in the
four
movie-
of them, so there is no middle.
that's true. That's why they fell. There was no power. It was it was world
So-
at war.
There's like a lot of posters, but in one, so here I'll
No, I'm
this
thinking
poster
like
I'll
in the
copy.
musical numbers in the show, like when you turn on the movie because I'm
got
sitting on
me
my couch.
hunting.
Yeah, find me the lineups in the songs. And I'm
change.
curious.
What's the end concert? I'd want to know what the lineup is. Like in that last lineup, I could almost picture all of it. See, one, it's Mel B, and she's not the leader,
No,
right? There's no way. Scary's
Not in a
not
million
the
years.
leader. No, there's no way.
not for any
Really?
specific reasons. Just
what characteristic of Scary do you think makes her not leadership material?
a leader
She's
needs
too
a
mean.
calm demeanor.
Yeah,
They need to. Yeah.
A lot of photos of Mel B in the middle. Maybe she is the leader, and just super unaware. You know what? Maybe that was one of the things of the Spice World. No defined leader.
I mean, Baby's
like,
not the leader, right? You got to figure
I think we can.
some of them are more
can all
leaderly
agree.
than others.
Yeah, we can all agree Baby is not the leader, right, Michelle?
We can all agree Scary's not. Or, what do you think?
I don't think Scary is the leader either. I agree.
Who do I think the leader is?
Who is not the leader?
Who is not the
Baby
leader?
Spice is not the leader.
Exactly, right?
Exactly.
I also don't think Posh Spice is the leader.
See,
I feel like she can't. She doesn't have time for that kind of thing.
I feel like
it's too-
we're letting her post Spice Girls success cloud our view of the group at the time. I don't think Posh
see,
as
in my-
leader was a popular conception at the time.
So in my mind, I see Posh Spice before I see Victoria Beckham.
Right.
Like, she is Posh Spice to me. Most of these Spice Girls are Spice Girls to me because that's how I grew up with them.
Right.
So, like, I don't see her as the leader, not because she's rich now, but because in the movie she was very concerned about her fashion and didn't want to get dirty and just didn't seem like...
prim and prissy and all those things.
you know...
Right, yeah, I'm
Like,
saying
it
you
didn't feel
still
like
have
leader.
the mindset of, like, the mid-90s Spice Girl, mid to late 90s Spice Girls, and
Yes.
how they were then. Whereas we're thinking of, like, looking back on it now and, like, knowing that she ends up being the JT of the group. That makes us think, like, oh, maybe she's like, the leader, but...
Right.
With a contemporary mindset that I don't think that train of thought would really occur to most people.
I have to say, driving the bus is a lot for me.
It was good.
It really is. It's, only one person can drive the bus.
I got a question. Who was the oldest of the Spice Girls at the time? Were they all supposed to be the same age? Because Baby was clearly supposed to be 10. I don't know. But, like, she was probably in her 20s. I would imagine they were all in their 20s, but I would say some probably were older than the others. So maybe the oldest one was the leader?
Hold on, I'm
Wasn't
checking
really
right now.
supposed to be
Yeah,
a
it's a
leader.
whole... Yep, now I gotta
Let's see.
Google people's ages.
Like,
70.
to
Well,
be
I'm
clear,
just saying the
there was
year they
no-
were born right now because that's easier
Okay.
to check.
Yep.
okay.
Actually, no, the age is right here in the sidebar. Okay, so Scary is currently 45.
Okay.
Sporty is currently 47.
Ooh.
Baby
Okay.
is currently 44.
As expected.
Posh is currently 46. And Ginger is currently 48. So Ginger was
Oh,
the
so
oldest.
by that
Ginger
metric,
is
it's
the
Ginger.
oldest of the Spices. Not shocked. Not because, like, she looks old, but just because I feel like she has that kind of, you know, I'm the oldest here, guys, calm down on the bus or something vibe about her sometimes.
None of them were calm on that bus. Oh, wait, in general? Yeah.
I think
on their
Ginger would be like,
TARDIS bus.
yeah, that was great.
Diggins, I wish you were here. That's what I called it when we were watching. I'm like, it's bigger on the inside.
Did you, let's see. Michelle, do you remember when you saw this movie in theaters? I'm assuming you saw it in theaters.
I did not.
Oh.
I got a VHS of it, and I ran that VHS to the ground.
Ah.
To two
that-
just black nubs spinning
Yeah.
uselessly into the VCR.
I cannot overemphasize how much I watched this movie.
I'm wondering what it was like to see in a theater if people were singing along with the songs. Like, the movie musical as a, like, concept has existed for a while, and, like, but the band movie musical kind of thing, like the Hard Day's Night and stuff like that, I feel like not a lot of bands have been able to pull that off. But you see things like The Greatest Showman where people sing the songs in the aisle and stuff, and I can't imagine that didn't happen for this, with, like, the audience just going wild during the movie itself. But, you know,
Yeah, I
that's
mean-
the theater experience for you.
Theater experience. I feel like it's weird because in this movie, the songs, like, they start and they stop and they happen whatever's going on, but it's so just, like, not relevant to, like, anything that's going on. They're
Yeah.
just, like, gaps in the movie, right? Like, if you took out all the performances, you'd still have, like, a pretty cohesive movie. I guess even, like, the diner scene.
No, the where they do the concert in Milan.
Okay, sure. That's like, that's the one where it's like you get like a little bit of, it's not even plot, it's just stuff happening. There's so little plot in this movie. I love it. I love this movie.
Whatever you say, DJ.
Should we talk about how we feel about this movie?
Well, sure. First, let's do the IMDb thing, because I am
Oh, my
curious where
goodness.
you guys think before we talk about it. It does have an IMDb summary. I don't
gonna
know
make
who
Michelle go
goes
first.
first. Yeah, should Michelle
we gotta
go
make
first?
Michelle go first. Yeah, we gotta make her go first. So, all right, so Michelle, the way this game works is you listen to the podcast every week, so you know how it works, but let me explain to people who are listening to the show for the very first time. Okay, so the way the IMDb game works is you have to guess what you think the IMDb summary is for this movie.
Yeah.
I am not good at this.
Well,
game.
now, as you know, because you listen every week, is that I'm awful at it. Every week I bomb. You know that,
You're
right?
not so bad, DJ. You've got some... You got some right ones.
People, loyal listeners know my track record. So as you know, it's like, no shame, you'll be fine. You just give it your all.
You cannot embarrass yourself more than we regularly do every week.
That's
true.
fair.
Sink into this with us.
So yeah, just say, a couple sentences or one sentence or whatever, but what do you think the line for this movie is?
How's this? Nando usually give some kind of indication. Oh my god, it's so short. Or oh
yeah,
it's
this one's.
Yeah.
I would say this is a very average one of these, which doesn't help here. But it's
Okay.
it's like one long sentence. No names. You have to name all the Spice Girls. Yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of what the movie is. It's hard to describe in any other way.
Okay. 5 pop stars travel around the world getting ready for their big concert in their Union Jack bus, getting into a bunch of shenanigans before their big show.
Okay, that's
I like that.
yeah, that's not bad. Not saying that's right or wrong, but you didn't say it's a Spice Girls movie, which was what I was worried about. Although that could be right. I'm not saying that's not it, but you got right in the spirit of it. DJ, do you want to take a crack at it?
All right. The Spice Girls embark on a journey to help their friends and make their fans happy in their theatrical debut.
Okay. More technical, or more Hollywood speak. Diggins, what about you?
Mega famous pop stars, the Spice Girls, must deal with a variety of calamities before their massive live concert at the Royal Albert Hall.
Ooh,
Michelle,
wow,
I
Diggins got
really
the-
wanted to give it to you, but Diggins just took it away right there. That was
I
because
snatched it
DJ's
out of
was
your
the
mouth.
least close. Michelle's yours was good, but Diggins, here's what it reads. This is and you both had some things, but here's the real one. World famous pop group the Spice Girls zip around London in their luxurious double-decker bus, having various adventures and performing for their fans. So Michelle got the bus, which was
Yeah,
good.
got the bus.
Ooh, I feel like
You
that's a
both
close
got
one.
you both got traveling. Diggins and Michelle had the concert, but just the way Diggins. So Diggins had. Do you remember what your first sentence was, or first clause was?
It was almost word for word.
That
what
was
you said.
so close.
Yeah.
I said mega famous pop stars, the Spice Girls.
Yeah.
It was almost like Diggins was in his mind searching for the word zip too. It was how did they travel? And but you both got the general vibe of it correct, which is various adventures and performing for their fans. So
I failed.
I'd say
failed
DJ,
real bad,
you
yeah.
can get one Spice Girl and the other two are two Spice Girls. If I have to give you a score out of 5. And DJ,
Which two
yours is
Spice
Ginger.
Girls would you give DJ?
No, DJ gets 1. You
which
each get
one?
2.
Which
I
one?
get baby. Probably.
No, you get Ginger. I don't want to give anybody baby. Not like I don't want to give anybody baby, but then that would be favoritism.
I see. Okay, fair enough.
The one who gets Ginger is the lesser of the 3.
Yeah.
Wow.
Of the 3 of you. Yeah. And DJ's the only one that definitely lost. All right, guys, what do we think of this movie? This was the Spice Girls. They did it.
All right, so
They made a movie.
We're gonna say bye to Michelle. She's giving me the peace out because she can't be here as we lambast this movie.
Oh, that's smart.
Wow.
I didn't say
DJ tipping his hand.
Whoa, not at all. But she is gonna bid farewell. So thank you for coming on, Michelle.
Yeah.
Do
Yes.
you want to plug something before you go?
DJ and I started a podcast called Roses and Rejections.
Oh,
where-
they get that every week. I was thinking of your monetization stuff.
Oh,
Guess not. Oh well.
doesn't matter. Thanks for doing this movie, guys.
Okay, goodbye. All right, so this movie. We gotta talk about what we
DJ,
thought of this movie. Yeah.
What do you think of Spice World?
I legit like.
movie.
I legit
sorry.
like this movie. No bias. I'm not saying this is my actual feelings. I enjoyed this movie. I thought I would not, but I did. And let me tell you why.
Why?
So, I'm watching this movie, and as it's going on, I'm like, what's going on here? What am I watching? I'm very confused. I don't get it. As it went along, I'm like, oh, this is just an over-the-top British-style comedy / sketch shows I'm getting a very like Monty Python feel from this, and then I bought into this stick, and then I was just so into it. The part with the bus, where like the little toy bus over the little plastic bridge, I'm like, this movie's brilliant. This movie's brilliant, and I love it. So, yeah, I think it's like one of the like funnier, better movies that we've done on this pod.
Wow, that's an insane thing to say. Go into a different room, a separate room with soundproofing.
Listen, no, this is actually how I feel, and because I'm telling you, early on this movie, I was like, I don't get this. This is like some weird fever dream. I don't understand. This seems like it's like, why does Roger Moore have a cat and then a pig? But like, as you watch it, I think if you accept this movie as a series of bits, it totally works. It totally works.
Whatever you say, if that's what you really believe, that's.
I promise, I would not do that. I would not do that to our fans. I would not try to give some kind of polished over take that's just totally outside influence. This is genuinely how I feel. I genuinely like this movie. I'm not saying it's a great movie.
I would not lie to you. I would not.
I would not lie to you. I would not. I did not hit her. I'm not saying this movie's a masterpiece. I'm not saying it's a great movie. I'm not saying it's a good movie. I'm saying for me, it was a very enjoyable movie.
All right. Well, Diggins, what about you? Where do you come down on Spice World?
So I get where DJ is coming from. I think overall the format did work for me a little better than I expected it to. Of just the various vaguely connected vignettes, zipping around.
Zip.
Zip, zip, zip. I think
IMDb
it's still fairly slight. I wouldn't say that every vignette is particularly funny or entertaining. I would not recommend watching this movie if you are not a fan of the Spice Girls. It's still very clearly a movie for those people. But overall, I found it to be largely inoffensive.
So very neutral. Very level and neutral.
There were bits I think are genuinely because they just hired a bunch of like over the top British comedians to do silly bits, and some of that stuff works for me.
So there's like a rule I have in my when I watch a movie. I mean, most movies don't do this, but movies about movies do this a lot. And the rule is you can't pitch me a more interesting movie than the one I'm watching as part of your movie. And this movie does this so much, and it's you keep wanting to, and I did not care for this. I keep it was fine. It's not. I didn't like it. I did not like it the same way I didn't like X-Men, New Mutants or whatever. Although I don't think that was all that terrible. But I'm thinking what's the worst movie we've ever talked about on this show? Money Plane. It's not as bad as Money Plane. But there were so many bits where something started to happen. I was like, oh yeah, this is it. They're going to go to fucking space. Yes, that's a movie.
Right.
I can't wait to see the movie. And then we didn't do it. They're like, oh, now they're the Mod Squad. Now they're fighting crime. That's a movie. Nope, that's not a movie. It's not a movie. It's not. It's a movie in the sense that it's technically the length of a movie, probably by a hair, and it has a you can buy it. It says the movie on it, almost as if to trick people. But it's a bunch of vignettes. But I didn't think very many of them were funny. But I also think as a movie, I just wish it committed to anything. Just one thing. What's the movie about? What are these characters doing? Why does any of this matter? And I get it's the Spice Girls, they're doing concerts, but even that, I'm like, why does this concert matter? What does that concert matter? Who are any of them besides their little bits of I'm the sporty one? Yeah, but how does that one feel about the rest of the Spice Girls? Did they fight? They don't even fight. There's nothing. It's not a movie. It's just a bunch of stuff, and the concerts are fine. A lot of, no, to even that, I didn't like the concerts very much. most of the concerts we watched were not concerts. It was rehearsals for concerts where they were marking it, like, for the concerts later. So why am I watching that? I want to watch them do backflips. And now I'm wondering, did the Spice Girls dance, like, they have some of the weakest choreography I've ever seen that none of them even, like, they don't even all do. And I'm wondering, were they not known for that? Is that, like, a thing? It kind of seems like 5 people from different groups just rolled up and tried to kind of fit in together without knowing what the other ones were doing as a band. And I'm wondering if that was kind of the vibe I was supposed to get. But even, like, I don't know, man. It's not very good. And even the parts where it tries to be funny, most of them I was not into.
All right, so Nando, I'm gonna start off by actually agreeing with you. So, and I said this at the time after I watched the movie. I agree. I don't think this is a movie. I think it is a 90-minute commercial for the Spice Girls with some sketch comedy elements sprinkled throughout. Like, I think that's the fairest assessment of what this is. I guess I landed to a point where I found it entertaining enough in between all of that I'm like, this is fine. But yeah, it's not a movie. It's not a movie. Like, in like the traditional sense of like a movie, right? It's a commercial.
Even more than being a commercial, it has like a plot and a structure for scenes happening next to each other. Even like those really loosely connected sketch shows that, you know, they're not really connected, but the character like goes to the next sketch and stuff. With me, there were so many bits that would end, and I would just go, "What did we watch? What was that? Why did I just watch that? Did this matter? Were there any consequences? Did I just want to watch them drive a boat? What? Who cares? Public sentiment about the Spice Girls, scene to scene, doesn't seem to matter. They are just, you know, they just decide halfway or a third of the way, or not a third, 2/3 of the way, where there's a third left, that they're going to break up for a second, but then they don't. But, like, there were some bits, and the bit with the mom, too, you're like, oh, it's about this kind of. It's about them all being a mom or learning to, you know, thinking about that and whatever, and it's just an excuse for, like, a weird bit. I don't know. I'm sure most of this works if you like the Spice Girls a lot. Although, to be fair, I think if you two did something like this, it'd be pretty hard to watch for me. But who are the Spice Girls fans when this comes out?
Wait, what do you mean?
Young girls, old girls, like adults, boys. Who is this movie for?
Well, it's definitely like if you're what I would say is that like if you're a kid, like, you know, between like probably like 7 and 12, 13, when this movie came out, you're probably all in, right? Because it's like your favorite people, and they're doing songs, they're doing funny bits, and you're all in. Like, I go back, like, I don't know if what I'm about to say is blasphemous, but I'm gonna go with it. The first, like, probably all of them, but like the first Pokemon movie's terrible. It's a terrible movie. But I was never more excited to see a thing when I was like 10 or 11 or however old I was when it came out, because it's like, oh my god, Pokemon in movie theaters. It's a big long Pokemon thing, and it's just, it like ratchets that part up of your kid brain. And I think that this, like, whatever, quote unquote movie, like, that's all it is. And, like, I think that's all it's intended for.
So then that's my question, I guess. How much is this a kid's movie?
Yes, I think so.
In what sense a kid's movie?
A movie made for children. A movie made for like an audience of under 13s.
I feel like the main audience for the Spice Girls was teenage girls, so I would say no.
Okay.
Is that not still a kid's movie?
I guess it's like a young adult. I'm thinking like, I think the Pokemon movie and Power Rangers movie and stuff like that, those are like kids movies.
Which Power Rangers movie? The most recent.
I don't know.
Oh, speaking of something we should nitpick one day. Oh my god.
But yeah, like, I guess I have a hard time, even when the Spice Girls meet their fans, I'm like, really? It's mostly 10-year-old boys? Like, and not like, there's that one bit, the first bit, where they go out and sign autographs outside. And for a part of me, is just like, is this who this movie is for? Or is this just, like, who was around that day, because when they get to their fans and their fans are like young girls, like children, and they go out on their jet ski or the speedboats.
Yeah, the little boat. Yeah.
That's the first time when I was watching it where I was like, oh, is this movie for kids that old? Like, are they the target demo for this movie? Because it is a kids movie. I think as a kids movie, it feels like I don't know. It makes more sense as a kids movie for kids, but I guess it doesn't make too many. Like, you wouldn't know it was a kids movie unless you knew that the Spice Girls' audience is primarily children, which I wouldn't say is like a guarantee when you think about like the audience for a major band. Like I think Backstreet Boys and NSYNC, I don't think like teenagers, although I wonder, is that, I don't know. Do I?
Well, I think it's a fact too of like, how old were you at the time? Like, I don't know how we could check, but like if you were 15 in 1997, were you really into the Spice Girls overall, or was it like, this is so corny? And
well,
like,
I guess
again, people are different. And,
my question is, go to a Spice Girls concert in 1997. Who's there? What's that audience made of? Because like everybody I know that likes it is people that are like, my sister's age, Michelle's age. But I wonder if like people older than them were also like kind of into this, or if it was just for children.
All right. Females between the ages of like 35 and maybe like 40, tweet at us. Tell us how you felt about Spice Girls in 1997.
That's our demo. Let's get. I'm not sure about that, but I mean,
we might
probably get one or two. I'm sincerely curious because, I'm trying to think of comparing this to like the Beatles have done stuff like this. Elvis did stuff like this where it would be like a movie, but just kind of for the musician to do their music. But with them, I think I kind of have a better understanding of what that audience is. Yeah.
I mean, like, even like, I don't know, ignoring like, who was the intended audience? I think that like at the time, if you were big into Spice Girls, this movie hits with you just because it's the thing you like for a long time, and they're doing like fun, wacky things, and they're also like they're doing like Wannabe in a diner. That's so fun, right? Like I didn't. Well, okay. Here's what I'm saying. Like, if you're a fan of them, I did not care for that scene at all. I'm like, this scene is probably one of the worst ones, like lesser ones in the movie. My favorite scene was either like the alien one. I love that. The bus thing. I thought that was great. Anything with Roger Moore. Can you guys guess who my favorite character was in this movie?
The best one. What's
Richard
his name?
E.
The
Grant.
one from Star Wars. Yeah.
Yeah, Clifford. Yeah, he's the best.
Although
he's the best character.
I think the best. Yeah, he's the best character. I think the best cameo is what's his name? The bus
Elton
driver.
John?
No.
Oh no, Meatloaf. Oh
yeah,
my
Meatloaf.
God.
What a fucking.
How?
Where did they? Yeah.
I don't know.
Did he come with the van or like the bus? Is it his?
It's like, and the fact that he's just, and like, was he Meatloaf in the movie?
No, he was like Eddie or something. He had,
Oh
like,
no,
a name.
Dennis. It was Dennis.
Yeah, there you go.
He's just their humble bus driver. He's not Meatloaf.
Who's a huge fan, but he
Who's
won't
a
clean
huge
the
fan.
toilets. That's too far.
He won't do that. Exactly. He did his one line from his music.
Yeah, I love that, but I
Which,
won't
like,
do that.
I don't know, man. Fucking clean the toilets. It's your job. Has this never happened before?
Is it the bus driver's job to clean the toilets?
Yeah, I don't think that tracks.
I think it's
right?
somebody's job,
but not
right?
the bus
Like
driver.
the fact that the answer to that is just pull over on the side of the road. It doesn't seem like an acceptable answer. If he doesn't sort this thing out, I think he should know the guy that does. That's all I'm saying. I mean, it might be Richard E. Grant's job, honestly.
It's insane that they just, the only reason they did that was to get them to, all right, we'll put them in the middle of the woods to meet aliens.
Yeah, I couldn't, like, and the aliens never showed up. It wasn't like that was when the movie, they didn't get something magical from the aliens. They just took some pictures with the aliens.
I actually thought that it was like kind of like what you were saying, and it was going to shift, and was like, oh my god, is this like one of those like hidden things where they hide what the movie's about in the trailer, and then it turns out it's about something else, and it's like Spice Girls in space, and I was let down when that didn't happen, but like
I figured they would get superpowers from the aliens or something. The aliens would start a plot of a movie with aliens in it. They would become Power Rangers. Like Power Rangers are aliens. Like, the Power Rangers themselves aren't, but the villains they fight are. So that was what I kind of thought we were getting, but that's not what it was. Okay. I don't know. Where do you want to start with this one? What
I
parts
don't know. That's
did we
a good
like?
question.
Did we like...
Right.
DJ, you said you liked the aliens bit.
I did.
And you liked the bit with the bus.
I did like the bit with the bus.
I feel like those are bits I remember.
All right, so things I could pull up the top of my head. For some reason, this movie really stuck with me. It was quite memorable. So there's that. Oh, okay. I don't know if I want to start at the end, but my favorite bit's actually at the end when they're describing the movie and it's happening.
Oh.
But see, I'm a cheap date, and you
Wait,
guys
is
know
that
this,
not
and
the
our
bus
listeners
bit?
know this.
Oh, I thought that's what you meant by the bus bit.
Two-part, yeah, but like also like how like the thing with the bomb and how it like jumped over the little plastic model. Anyway.
So that's the second bit you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm a cheap date. So I'm a simple man, and simple things make me laugh. For some reason, that like really stuck with me. But things I remember in this movie: there's pregnant lady, they help deliver the baby. There's the army bit.
Oh my god.
There's the superhero bit, or like they're basically Charlie's Angels. There's that bit. There's the bit where they dress up as each other. I didn't.
Oh my god, the photo shoot.
The photo shoot. There's the boat part. There's the.
There's the evil newspaper editors.
Oh, yep. The evil newspaper editors.
The gossip guy who did gossip, and then Richard E. Grant was like, they got gossip about you, and they were like, well, we're the fucking Spice Girls. Who gives a shit? And then that was what the movie thought of it, too.
Yeah. But not only do they have... But listen, the scenes themselves with the two newspaper dudes being like hammy and ridiculous, and then Richard O'Brien showing up and being this creepy guy.
Yeah,
I liked those. They were good. They were over the top and silly in ways that I enjoyed.
And it's funny because like the gossip columnist is trying to be this like J. Jonah Jameson, like Spider-Man's a menace, but like that's where you get your bread from, son. But also like he was never like kill Spider-Man.
Well, but he was also like
we gotta kill the Spice Girls. Hire an assassin. Imagine the headlines: Spice Girls assassinated.
He was quoting them out of context, and then they got in trouble for it, but then they didn't. But it was another bit of the movie that was like, why are we doing this bit? What's the point? It doesn't like it. If the movie, all the movie had to do was they lose some ticket sales or something because all the Catholics don't want to go, but the movie couldn't commit to the Spice Girls being bad either.
But that's not the point of the movie.
No, the point of the movie is that the Spice Girls are the biggest thing since the Beatles at this point in history, and we got to make some money real fast.
Yeah, I think that's right. But yeah, just as a reason for that being in the movie, then I'm like, what was the point of it? Because like the first time that guy shows up is when she says the thing about the Pope being Catholic. You remember that? And that's like the log line. It's like, she doesn't think the Pope's Catholic.
Well,
and this
the first time
I think
he shows up stalking the Spice Girls. He shows up in an earlier scene being introduced.
Yeah. Right, but
that is,
like,
by the way,
moment.
if you guys are not aware, Richard O'Brien, who is Riff Raff in Rocky Horror / the creator of Rocky Horror.
Mm-hmm. Which explains the Meatloaf connection.
Yeah.
Oh, true.
Rocky Horror Zone. Yeah.
And there's also Elton John shows up at the very start of the movie. As long as we're talking about the cameos. And let's see. What was Elvis Costello
is Elton John
a
in the Rocky Horror
at one
picture?
point? No.
Oh, you're just saying like all
I'm just talking about the cameos at this point.
Yes, sure.
Elvis Costello is a bartender.
Who is that guy that they did the hair to? That Scary was like, your hair should be cool. I was like, am I supposed to know who this guy is? You know what I'm talking about?
I know who you're talking about. I'm not sure I knew who that was. Why don't I
there
hop
were
to the
definitely
credits
some
real fast?
British celebrities that went over my head. Remember the plot line where they're doing... So, this is a movie, right? We watched a movie. We sat down, turned on a movie, and a movie played.
Yeah, I remember that happening.
Oh,
Beyond
that,
that,
all accurate.
there was also part of that movie where characters in the movie were pitching other movies, right? Remember that?
Yes. Oh, the documentarians. Oh,
Then there was a there was a guy
Yeah.
filming them for some sort of documentary that they didn't seem to want to be part of, but also didn't care about. He wasn't connected to the other movie within a movie that this movie was doing. They were separate. It's so much. It definitely felt like all the Spice Girls sat down in a room and wrote ideas on a bunch of note cards and then gave them to the screenwriter, and they had to figure out the order they went in, but they couldn't throw any of the note cards away.
The funny thing is in the beginning credits, it's based on an idea by the Spice Girls and Kim Fuller, whoever Kim Fuller is. But it's like the movie wants you to think that like they just came up with this, which is
I think they totally did. Absolutely. This seems like, I don't know who Kim Fuller is, but let's assume Kim Fuller is some sort of Hollywood type, who sat down with them and was like, all right, we're going to make a Spice Girls movie. What do you guys want? And one of them went, we want to meet aliens. Okay, but what does that have to do with it? Also, I want to do a bus fight and a fight on the bus. Okay, what if they're doing a documentary about us? And, like, that's just what we got. Like, it feels like a movie written by a bunch of people who don't know how to write a movie. But,
well,
I mean, that
that's
happens
like
a lot on this podcast.
It's true. But that's like the other interesting thing about the so right there were the documentarians and the I guess American people who were
Norm
pitching,
from Cheers is back, guys.
They were pitching the movie. Now I was just gonna say, it's like there's so many parts involved in this movie, and you think like, oh, they're all gonna come together. Like the documentarians are gonna talk to the movie makers and be like, oh my god, we have your thing, and it never happens.
You mean Alan Cumming, another actually kind of big British actor?
Yeah. It's like they get to the end of the movie and it's like, I guess they're all in the same room with the other ones. So then it's over. It's all good. They figured it out. And it's, it is what it is, but also, wow, it's weird. It's very strange.
Oh yeah.
We keep harping on the aliens, but like we were saying, they also go to the army for a little bit to learn to dance.
Yep. There's which, by the way, I asked Michelle, and they weren't known for their dancing. That wasn't.
They can't be, right? Yeah, but every so often they would do a little bit of choreography in their songs that we saw them sing, and I was like, okay.
They were known for their poses.
Yeah, and then that was why I was like, oh, is this why they're going to dance school? Is that going to be the arc? They're going to learn to dance, but that didn't happen.
No.
Well, because then they had problems with backup dancers too, and it was almost like, oh yeah, because we're not comfortable with dancing. It was like Footloose, but with the fucking Spice Girls. That's a movie.
Another bit you may have forgotten was like the Clue bit with Hugh Laurie.
It's so fucking. Oh my god.
It's not Clue. It's he is specifically listed in the credits as Poirot.
Yep, it's fucking Murder on the
Agatha
Nile or
Christie.
something. Yeah.
So anyway,
well, it's Murder on the Orient Express and Death on the Nile.
That's right. I read them both at the same time.
So we got Hugh Laurie, other famous British actor.
Let's say Stephen Fry shows up somewhere, but I can't remember where.
He's the judge. Talk. Oh man, this was the saddest part of the movie for me.
He sentences them for releasing a single that is not. He says this very specific phrasing that actually got me. I thought it was pretty good.
And
I did too. What was that bit?
Well, like, they were talking about how their punishment would be, like, in 20 years, we're just gonna be in obscurity. And it's, like, really sad watching this now. But it's like, I force you to go on a talk show and talk about how famous you used to be.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, no.
Forgot about that.
This is, like, way too on the nose.
Yeah, it's, I mean, there's so much weird stuff in this movie. And in between the weird stuff, there's just a lot of sitting around. There's a lot of this movie that's just them all sitting around, but not like riffing. Well, like riffing, like you would get in like a Seth Rogen movie, it feels like.
Now,
Because
to be fair to the Spice Girls,
Okay.
we did let the Beatles make multiple movies where it's just them fucking around for an hour and a half and not doing anything. So
maybe
you know
it's
what?
that British
They
people have a
deserve
higher
one.
tolerance for this stuff.
Maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Could
I'm
be.
I'm definitely not against this movie as a movie for people that enjoy the Spice Girls, and that's all the Beatles ones were too. But as a person who is, can't just watch them chit chat about how each other is their thing. That part was a little rough, where they would be like, "You're just a baby Spice. Well, you're so sporty Spice," and then that was like 2 minutes.
Where they're like, "Oh, I don't know if I like being known only for these stereotypes," and then they're like, "I guess they're okay with it after all because they don't talk about it again."
Well, because that happens so early in the movie, you're like, this is going to be the through line. They're going to see. The problem was, I think the three of us, I'll at least speak for myself. I was trying to approach this from like what the movie is going to be and the through lines and how I normally watch a movie. And I'm like, they're all going to try being different things. And then they're going to learn, having tried each things, that, it's hard to be sporty or baby or whatever. So I have even found respect for you for being your thing. But no, it was not this thing.
And they introduced like antagonist after antagonist after antagonist, and none of them mattered. Most of the things that they did, it did seem like kind of it was a movie filmed in between some sort of other thing. Right, like it was like we have to make a 90-minute movie, but also we're on tour, so what are we going to do? What if 5 minutes of the movie is just us doing a photo shoot that we do those.
That we have to do. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then it's like, okay, now we got 85 minutes left. What else can we do like that? What if we do us filming the movie as the end of the movie? And that's wonderful. We'll put it over the credits, and yeah.
What if we do? I have this pregnant friend. What if we bring her to a club and just kind of film that?
Yeah. Was she the Forgotten Spice Girl or something?
Like the fifth Beatle?
Yeah, I was
like Pete
wondering
It's
about
not
that.
based on any real person whatsoever.
The fuck was that?
It's just, I don't know. They decided they needed a baby delivery scene, or they needed like there to be some crisis that they resolved to that leads to the concert scene. But they didn't want any of the actual Spice Girls to be the one facing a crisis or delivering a baby. So they just added a friend of theirs that they all pretend that they know for
I
two
would
scenes,
love that.
so she can show up again at the end.
I'd love to see that movie in a theater full of like Spice Girls mega fans. And then, because I'm sure every time a Spice Girl walks on screen, they all clap. And then, like, some Elton John, they all clap. And then this one shows up and they all pretend to clap. Because they're like, oh, yeah, the friend of the Spice Girls. We love her. Because they don't want to look like they don't know who this rando is.
It's like the Emperor has no clothes. It's like, well, I can't admit I'm an idiot, so I'm just going to pretend that I know who this person is.
But yeah, that was insane that was part of it. Oh my God.
Also, they found a club in England where all the Spice Girls could go and no one would care.
Oh yeah,
There's
nobody
no one like,
cared
oh my
about
God,
the
it's the Spice Girls. There's nothing.
And like, so, all right, we'll get to like not like the plot because we aren't going to go through all these plots.
I don't think you could talk about a plot. The Spice Girls have to go do a concert, and they try really hard to not do it at several points. Like,
yeah,
basically.
It never really seems like they actually don't want to do it.
No, it seems like they're just like fate is forcing a movie in between them and the concert. But they are the Spice Girls. So through the sheer power of like girl power, they're able to power through all the parts of the movie that are movie parts. Like it's like, oh no, you've got a big thing. There's everybody's mad at you. It's a big controversy. And then it's like, but we're the Spice Girls. And it's like the movie gods, and this happens at the end of the movie, but like it feels like the movie gods just keep trying to throw movies at them, and they just bounce off the Spice Girls like bullets off of Superman, because there can't be a plot. It just has to be more things happening. Like, why did they go to dance school? What was that? Who is that guy? Is he from something? Mr. Dance or whatever the fuck his name was?
I love how my favorite part about him, and this is such a stupid thing, but on his sleeve, he had about 17, like, officer stripes, just going from the shoulder to the wrist, and I don't know why, but I found that hilarious. I'm like, it's like one of those, like, little over-the-top things. It's just like,
Let's explain this bit real quick, because this is a kind of microcosm of what was this movie. The Spice Girls have to go to dance school because they are a failure, I guess. I don't know. Richard E. Grant, who's their manager, is like kind of making some things happen. And one of the things that they end up doing is this. And it is this, I don't want to say like flamboyant necessarily, but super over-the-top British drill sergeant character or something.
Yep.
Who wants them to do choreography, but they don't. And they don't do it, but then they kind of do. Yep. And then they do ropes courses and stuff, and like different drill, like basic training. Yeah. And that's part of it. They all dress up like that, like they wear camouflage versions of their pants and belly shirts and whatever.
Yeah, they're all in like fatigues, like they're all in like the military guard, except for Posh, who's in a camo dress.
Well, I would guess, I can't remember very well, but I would guess the ones that are in fatigues also have some thing. Like the five of them never dress the same, so I have a feeling one of them's wearing like a shirt that shows their midriff, and one of them's wearing a tank top or something. That's just a guess.
I'm looking at that scene right now. They're styled differently. Like Scary's wearing a hat. Ginger has her coat open, but they are just fatigues.
Right. But yeah, like they all have like their dress styles that they manage to work into stuff. Which is why when they do the switching, I'm like, which one's that supposed to be? I kind of only recognize you. Like we'll talk about that. But yeah, they just go to Army for a little bit. Like Buster Bluth.
Did they win a stuffed seal?
For marksmanship, yeah. Honestly, it might as well be. And it's like, here's the thing. You couldn't pitch that. You could pitch that sketch kind of, but like as part of a movie, like a funny movie could have a sketch like that in it, but there need to be some other thing happening where there's a joke, because all of the bits like that are just, wouldn't it be funny if the Spice Girls had to go to boot camp? But it's like, well, what would they do? Well, they'd all just kind of stand there, and the guy would act kind of near them, and then that would be it. And it's like, no, you guys need to like have a thing, a personality, like, and it's so easy because they are all things. They're all some sort of archetype of whatever, and they get at it with Posh. You're right, where she doesn't want to do the course, but like, how's that not something the other ones can figure out what their thing is? But who knows? Maybe they had this movie, and the Spice Girls were like, yeah, we don't want to do that.
That they had something like written, and it's like, no, I want a series of loosely connected bits.
Yeah.
Which again, for like, I don't feel like I have to overly defend this movie, but for what it is to just, the purpose is to get the Spice Girls on a movie screen. You can do this. Like, for our purposes of evaluating, yeah, it's really silly and not strictly a movie, but this is a good question, and like a slight tangent, have we ever done a movie like this where it's like, this isn't a movie, this is just a series of bits? I'm like,
I feel like the answer to that has to be yes.
Yeah, Money Plane, but not really. Rise of Skywalker. Cats is kind of that.
Yeah, Cats is kind of that.
Yeah, I mean, the original Cats is absolutely that. They kind of sort of added a plot to the movie, but even then,
those Brits and their movies where somebody just kind of bumps into stuff and the vignettes happen. That's just what they love. Did any of you have a favorite Spice Girl going into this movie and a favorite Spice Girl coming out of this movie? Who do you think won the movie?
Ooh. So, the first part of the question, I recall, like, my awareness of the Spice Girls as, like, a child. I was like, sporty seems cool, because tracksuits. So, I was like, that was, like, my awareness. Coming out of the movie, they're all the same. They're all the same. It's like a carbon copy, man. But they are. They're like all. I mean, Posh drives the bus. That's pretty cool.
That is cool.
What about you guys?
I don't know. They're all fine. I think at the time, back in the day, I don't know. I think I liked Scary Spice just because she probably was the one that did the most stuff. Like you were saying, she has the energy and she's like, oh, she's wild and she jumps and does kicks and whatever. Coming out of this movie, that's a tough one. I'm trying to think of who has a good joke.
I really can't think of individual bits between them. It's they're all such the same.
Yeah.
Which is probably the point, right? Like that, like because you're just projecting like your favorite one. Like I'm seeing them and they're cool. Blah blah blah.
Well, and it's a a consequence.
Can you
of
tell
writing.
me a single difference between any member of NSYNC who's not JT?
Oh God.
Well, there's Lance. He went to space, but he didn't. That was the thing.
There is Lance.
He
Joey
didn't go to
Fatone.
space. He wanted to go to space. He learned Russian
Yeah,
to
they
go to
didn't let
space. And they found a serious heart condition they were able to fix because he wanted to go to space. But he never actually went. And they had to place a barrel the exact weight of Lance Bass on the spaceship because he canceled so late. They'd already done all the calculations for the launch that it was including Lance Bass's weight. So they had to put a barrel weighing exactly the same.
Now
as
that's
Lance
a
Bass
movie.
on the
One of the
ship.
Spice Girls wants to go to space. Let's make that a movie. That's a movie. I mean, to be like, yeah, we didn't know anything about the NSYNCs, but they didn't make an NSYNC movie. Maybe understanding their limitations. I feel like, if anything, this should make it easy to make a movie about these characters. They fight over X thing, because this one is the one that does Scary, and this one is Baby, and they don't get along, or, they don't want to do the same, they don't want to go to the same place, so they have a fight. But this movie could not have any interest whatsoever in any conflict between the Spice Girls, which is usually what drives a movie like this. So they just kept like throwing in outside agitators that didn't work.
Yeah. I feel like the record company that controlled the Spice Girls brand didn't want, was okay with the general movie plot line of, oh no, maybe they won't be a band anymore. But didn't want it to seem like anyone's fault.
Yeah.
And so they just kind of don't actually fight or disagree about anything in the entire movie.
Yeah, and there's not even like what you would expect, like Richard E. Grant's character. There is that one guy who's the slimy kind of tabloid dude, right? But like besides him, there's no one actually being like, I want to destroy the Spice Girls, so I'll set up some rumor or something. Because you can make like the blameless kind of, you could set up a situation where none of them did anything wrong, but they still get split up. But the movie isn't interested in that either. And that's the part that I thought was really strange. Richard E. Grant's character, I think, was where that would come from. In a normal movie about musicians, there'd be some sort of slimy manager or something. What did you get from him?
I thought he was like supposed to be the over the top like comedy beat. Like that's what I kind of read.
But like,
for
what kind of
Richard E.
type?
Grant's character.
What's his character? Describe Richard E. Grant's character.
Oh, so like uptight manager trying to like control the Spice Girls, has to report to a higher authority who tells him what to do. He doesn't
James Bond himself.
Yep.
James Bond himself tells him what to do. He's more or less a middleman, and he has no control over the Spice Girls. And he's just business. But sometimes you got to have fun. But there's no time for fun.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think the mistake with him, not mistake, but the thing that kind of confused me about him, do you remember the first time we see him at a concert? He's dancing to the music, like in the crowd having fun,
He's probably a fan.
Right, but that's the problem. I feel like a character like him if we had to figure out over the course of the movie that he liked the girls or was a fan or just like he had to learn the values of Spice Girls, and then at the end he dances, and it's like, oh, he's got an arc. But he's kind of always on their side the whole time, which is fine as a character or like as a thing, but it doesn't help a movie that has no conflict at all.
Is he dancing at that first concert? Because when they're walking backstage after that first concert, he's like, "That was a great concert, girls," and they're like, "How would you know? You weren't even watching it." He's like, "Oh, I could tell from the vibes."
Maybe it's the first concert, but maybe it's the second one. But an early concert, like first act, there's a point very early in the movie where he's having fun at the Spice Girls, like at a Spice Girls concert or at a maybe a rehearsal, listening to the music, and I was very like, oh, what are we doing here? What's this guy's deal? Because also there's a couple of times. There's the time with the backup dancer guys, the muscle guys, where he like kind of goes to bat for the Spice Girls in a way that
against the Italian guy who just keeps saying the name of cheeses.
Yeah, that was strange. But whatever. Tiny concert. It's like a concert for like 100 people.
Well, Milan's not that big a city.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess like it's just a big, they're a big band. Things like that's a
yeah. It's like, why are they doing these like little bitty concerts, right? Like everything should just be like Madison Square Garden size.
My impression was that was for like an event or something. You know?
Must have been like somebody's birthday. You know what?
It's hard because the movie explains nothing.
Yeah, the movie just goes like it gives us a date and a time and a location, or like this is the next thing they're doing with like a title card. But then they just go do that. But yeah, Richard E. Grant's guy, I thought he was fun in this.
I will say, if you want some conflict with Richard E. Grant's character, there is that little bit at the end where he totally goes to Pound Town with his assistant.
Yeah, that was weird.
I like that. I like that a lot.
There's the bit, like halfway through the movie, where the Spice Girls are all sitting on a, like I don't even know what are they like at a tent or pillows or something in the backyard of a mansion.
Oh God, it was like an outdoor not like an ashram,
psychedelic
like,
gazebo.
Yeah. So they're in the gazebo, and one of them's like, "Hey, Richard E. Grant, whatever the hell his name is, he's all stuffy," and they're like, "Why doesn't he just snog the other girl, the female manager of the group, whose name I can't remember?" And then Deborah, yeah, and it's like, oh. Honestly, as a person in the audience watching the movie, I was like, oh yeah, that's something that could happen. I didn't really think about that. I figured he had a wife or something, but no, I guess like he's single. And then nothing happens with that for a very long time, and then later they're at a bar, and he's like, "We could have meaningless sex right now," and then she's like, "Oh yeah, that's a good idea," and then so the Spice Girls don't even do it. It's just them telling us, "Hey, movie audience, maybe later if they have sex, that'll be interesting to you." And I'm like, I guess. Also, people, the Spice Girls obviously dress all weird. He dresses really weird. Weirder than any Spice Girl.
I love
like
his immaculately but bafflingly styled facial hair.
So yeah, let's describe that. Diggins, can you describe his face?
So Richard E. Grant has a kind of narrow, long face to begin with, which in this movie, the costume designer or makeup artist or whoever makes these decisions about how characters are supposed to look. I've never worked on a movie. Cut me some slack here. They have gone with the striking decision to highlight the narrowness of his face by having... They're kind of like mutton chops almost, but they're like close shaven and like thin, and they reach down right to the top of his cheek, right where they start to flare out towards his like where the mustache would go, but they stop like right at that point, right as they just start flaring out. So he has these kind of like bell-bottom jeans just resting across his face.
Yeah, it's pretty bizarre.
It's so weird.
And beyond that, he dresses in a suit every time, and it's like a 3-piece suit with a tie, where every part of the suit, including the shirt underneath, is the same material and color.
Yeah.
I've seen that before, but he has a purple one and a green one.
He looked like Batman villains.
Yeah,
like,
he does.
Like the Riddler and then the Joker. The funny thing was like, Diggins described him perfectly. Sometimes when he's sitting down, he's wearing these like reflector sunglasses, like these dark colored reflective sunglasses, and he's like expressionless, and he almost has like a Hugo Weaving like Mr. Smith vibe to him.
Yeah,
it's weird. I loved him. Like, and that was the thing. Like, Richard E. Grant gave like an Oscar level performance in this movie. Like, it was bananas, but he did exactly what he was told to do.
Yeah, he was putting in a lot of work. I did appreciate him, and fucking thank God for him. If he wasn't there, this movie would have been unwatchable. But I mean, somebody would have been in his place. He 100%
has the best joke in the movie, which I'm curious if you guys can guess what I think is the best joke in the movie.
I can't recall. Like, I can't recall like a specific joke.
I don't remember either.
So it's at the end of the movie, when it seems like they're not going to show up for the concert.
Oh yeah, that is the best joke. I know what you're talking about.
So for the listeners' benefit, if you didn't watch the movie in anticipation of our podcast, he is like talking to the documentary film crew. They're filming him like having a breakdown about this. And so he's just going, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to the curtains will open. I'm going to walk up on stage. And I'm going to hang myself. And he just like pulls out like a cartoon noose from nowhere.
Yeah.
And it's so out of nowhere. It's hilarious.
Yeah, I guess, and that's the problem with the movie, kind of. I wish there was more of that, or more of something. I wish it committed more to zaniness, because I did enjoy
I'm not
like
sure
that.
this movie could commit much harder to zaniness.
I think it could commit to zaniness in terms of, like you get into the bits, and it's like, well, what are we doing in boot camp? Like, why are we, like, you could never write a sketch. If you tried to write a sketch that was the Spice Girls go to boot camp, and if I was like, write me that sketch, and someone gave me what we watched, I would fire them. Like, that's the most boring version of that scene. Same with the aliens. Same with most of the things that happen in the movie. So, like, I wish it committed in terms of the way that, like, that was executed pretty well. It was pretty funny. And the timing was good too, because then that's right when they burst through, and it's funny because he has the noose in his lap, and none of them care. Maybe he's done this before, but the whole idea, like, of that's the thing I think that separates this from Monty Python, and obviously, no one's expecting it to be Monty Python, but there were flashes of goodness in this movie where I'm like, yo, if you just went with this, awesome movie. This could be fun. Spice Girls go to space. They meet aliens. I don't know. I think you could really make something out of Spice Girls super team, like assassins, whatever. That one bit where they're pitching the movie.
Yeah, they're like
Spice
Charlie's
Girls.
Angels.
Yeah, Charlie's
Danger
Angels
Force
Mod
5.
Squad kind of thing. Yes, that's it.
That'd be perfect.
That would be awesome. And I'm not saying, like, I'm not trying to be like, this is a better version of the movie than the one that we got. Like, I'm only saying it because the movie pitches that to us, and it seems fun. But yeah, I mean, whatever, it's fine. Richard E. Grant is good. Yeah. We said Meatloaf drives their bus. Describe the bus. The bus is fun.
So yeah, the bus is like Diggins said, it's a TARDIS because it looks like just a regular double-decker bus with the Union Jack pin on the outside, but on the inside it's like the Spice Girls home base where each part of the bus is like tailored to their needs. And Richard E. Grant like does the PA every morning. It's like, "Hello, girls. Today we're going to such and such place," and they're like, "Shut up!" And like, he takes his job so seriously. I love it.
I mean, somebody's gotta. They are a band. Like, he does say that at one point, and I'm like, yeah, he's, maybe you're being a little too hard on him, but they do have to go to the shows that they're performing at. It would be nice if they showed up to them.
Well, and it's like they don't care about like doing it, but then at the end they have the realization like, oh, our fans are the most important thing. Although I thought Friends was the most important thing, I couldn't square that one away. What was the most important thing?
Also,
fans
Spice
or
Girls,
friends?
Buses don't grow on trees. We don't all have buses. The whole thing is you get the bus if you do the singing and dancing. So like, just do it. Don't be so. Just be like, you're happy to do it. I don't know. They like, it's weird because in universe they're not good, right? At one point, I remember in the movie, the character they're doing the rehearsal for the second show, the one in like a usual music venue, and they. Or maybe this is before that when they're singing, but there's someone else who's like, yeah, just like that, except not so bad, or something like that. And I'm like, wait, in this universe, is this not Spice Girls? Like, are they doing a bad job? Because I did not get that. But maybe that has something to do with the brand image not being, the Spice Girls have to be good at Spice Girls. What other characters were in this movie, guys? Right? Were there others?
we got to talk about Roger Moore, right? He's the guy.
Describe Roger Moore to me.
All right, so he's like, I guess he's like the record label president or owner or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's so good. So when I first saw him, I'm like, oh my God, it's Roger Moore. Oh my God, that's James Bond. And he had like a little cat. I'm like, oh, is he the villain of this movie? Again, like, I'm trying to expect things from this movie that just aren't going to be there.
Well, and the record producer, the suits at the top of the studio, they're usually the problem.
The true villains, right?
Yeah.
So, and he's talking, and as you go on, I was like, okay, he's just kind of giving Richard Grant the orders, but he's like kind of mean, right? He's like, no days off for the Spice Girls. And he always has like a different little animal, like sometimes it's a cat, sometimes it's a bunny, sometimes it's a pig. And he would always end his calls with Richard Grant in this like weird saying, like, remember, the chicken with its head cut off knows where he's been, but doesn't know where he's going.
Ah.
Like, what?
And Richard Grant didn't get that either. Like, he was like, the person would say, like, what did he say? And he was like, I don't know, but it was important. So we'll just kind of imagine that he said something, what you'd expect a guy in a movie like this to say. He also had a line at one point, I want to say someone was like, Richard E. Grant is telling him, like, don't be shaken. And then he's like, I'm not shaken. And then he has a martini.
Yeah.
And he makes it because he's James Bond. I didn't recognize it was Roger Moore until that point, and I was like, oh, this is probably one of the James Bonds that isn't one of the couple I'd recognize from just, normal.
So yeah, that he's a character. We mentioned. Did we mention Deborah?
There's Deborah. Yeah, she is there.
Yeah.
Richard E. Grant sometimes says, "Spice Girls, get ready for stuff," and then Deborah's like, "Give him a break." That's
she's like the good guy.
Yeah.
He's like good cop, bad cop.
But he's also the good cop. That's the problem. We need to define what any of these characters are. He needs to be the bad cop then.
Like I said, later in the movie, her and Richard E. Grant go down to the Bone Zone.
Yep, they do.
Is that made clear, by the way, whether or not they go to the Bone Zone?
I think they go to the Bone Zone post-bar.
It's pretty heavily implied that they go to the Bone Zone post-bar.
Okay.
Because he says, like, it's like... Well, because he says, or she says, one of them's like, and then we could just have sex, and that would ruin everything, and then that would make our relationship difficult. And then she's like, I'll have a drink, please, bartender. And you're like, oh, okay. And then later when they're talking, he says, they're like, oh, the Spice Girls, they got to the concert. And then he's like, by the way, what about the thing? And then that's
can we still have a professional relationship?
Yeah. So they definitely did. Good for them, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
He's a high-profile record producer. Like, you know, he's touring around with the Spice Girls. I guess his life is his work. But
Well, I don't know that he's a producer. I think he's just like their road manager.
yeah, I guess, like, manager is more accurate, I guess. Yeah. And he does, you know, he does get angry on their behalf at the Italian guy. He doesn't believe them with the alien thing.
He does go to bat to them, bat for them, which is good, right?
Yeah.
Someone to back you up, and he does. So
And-
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it's nice that he did that. Probably as a storytelling device, you'd want him to not do that and then do it at the end or something, but whatever. This isn't a movie, like we said. It's a bunch of skits. And what else? That's pretty much it. Are there other characters? Elton
There's
John shows
Brian
up.
at the diner.
Oh,
God.
yeah.
Yeah, describe the diner pub whatever scene.
yeah, go for it.
Oh
Diggins.
man! So the diner is after they kind of accidentally tell Richard E. Grant that they're not going to do the concert because they really don't seem like they actually don't want to do it. They're just like mad at him and say that, but
Yeah.
not very convincingly. They're all like thinking about the past before they were big, and they all just wander over to this old diner that's now closed where they used to hang out, and we flash back to before they were famous when they were hanging out with pregnant friend who was not pregnant at the time because this is the past. And they like perform a version of Wannabe for the diner owner, Brian, who mostly just likes jazz. And also, weirdly, imply that hip-hop is over, which is a weird thing to say.
That totally got me.
in
Yeah, they're like funk
1997.
and hip-hop. Yeah, they're not...
That was great.
They're way out of the times, these Spice Girls, but yeah. And it wouldn't even
But
be in 1997.
regardless.
It would have been in like 1994 or something, right? Like pre-Spice popularity.
Yes. This
when
was
it should be
before they were
even more
famous,
in
so
its
right.
heyday.
Yes.
Not that it's ever really gone, but yeah.
I love this scene because of the world it implies. A world in which they are not a purely manufactured, like, corporate entity.
Yeah,
And
they
we're
just-
actually just five friends who were trying to start a band together. Now, I listened to avoid the tweets. I actually went and double checked just in case somehow that really was how they started, and absolutely not. They a record company like held auditions because they wanted to start a girl group, and they hired all them. They didn't know each other beforehand. They weren't like wanting to start a band together. It's literally like they were recruited by a label to start a girl band because the label thought a girl band would be popular.
Yeah, Virgin, right? Which is like a British company.
makes sense.
Richard Branson.
Well, there's more to it. Virgin isn't the one who initially recruited them.
Oh.
They actually kind of shopped around after, like, getting together, and they got a better contract with someone else, et cetera, et cetera.
Oh.
So they didn't.
That
they didn't
sounds
have
like a
no
movie.
agency. They didn't have no
is
agency
that?
in this, but they were absolutely not like a group of friends who just were starting out rough and tumble on their own.
There's like that's the other thing. That's a movie too. They could make that like the fake idealized version where like Sporty comes from like the land of sport and stuff, and then they all meet at college or something. Like it'd be stupid, but that'd be kind of fun. This scene is bizarre. And the bizarre, I guess the bizarre part to me is that the Baby Spice, like, we haven't really talked about Baby Spice. It's the weirdest part, I think, of the band as like a fixture of the 90s. It made sense. The Britney Spears kind of, oh, I'm just a little baby, but like it's really weird now. But mean, I'm sure it was weird then too, but it implies that like that's what she's like in real life. Like she's always been kind of like that, you know? That's pretty strange. Kind of hope she just adopted that personality but no, she's always been like a
I mean, I think that's always kind of part and parcel of these things. I mean, yes, as adults we look back and think like, oh yeah, obviously we all know they weren't really like that. They were, actual people. But when you're a child, you think like, yes, this is who these people are.
I guess
or
the
even a teenager is probably not as cynical about that as we are, or one who's a genuine fan at least.
I guess it doesn't bug me enough or as much with the other ones. It's just because she's supposed to be like a little like sexy child kind of thing. It's weird to see that out of girl band.
Some people are into that,
Oh, I mean, that's...
Well, listen, I'm not saying I'm not judging them.
Yeah, judge away.
Oh my god.
Yeah, her because when she's not flirting, when in that scene where I thought the other ones were flirting, and I do remember at one point, I'm pretty sure Ginger Spice is like, look at that guy's dick. But forget about that for a second.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
right? I'm not crazy.
With the dancers, she gestures to someone and was like, how much of that you think is real?
Yeah. So, Baby Spice in that moment is like, I have a doll and a puppy and SpongeBob SquarePants or whatever, and they're on my bed, so you can't come to my bed, sir. Like, so it's just weird. I don't know. Obviously that's always been weird, and that I'm sure it's existed for a while, but the Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, like, and then this one, it was just a hot thing in the 90s. And, that was that. Do the Spice Girls live on that bus?
No, it's got all the things they need, right?
Because later they're staying at that old creepy mansion.
Oh, yeah.
Do they live together?
Oh, of course. They're best friends.
I mean, maybe in the universe of this movie, but my impression was more along the lines of they, what do you call it? That because they're just, touring and doing this big concert soon, they're just, working really hard. And so they spend time together because they're working 24/7, essentially.
Right, that makes sense. Let's see. Can you describe, DJ, the end of the movie, the thing with the movie part?
Okay. Oh, man. All right. So the Spice Girl, this is probably like the most, not like plot, but at least you could like explain what's going on. So Spice Girl's pregnant friend is delivering her baby. Also all five...
She is delivering her baby after the Spice Girls after the flashback scene I described, they decide to relive the good old days by going to a club. And they take their over 9 months overdue for delivery pregnant friend to this nightclub, who agrees to it and seems to be like trying to be into it and have a good time, and like in no way thinks there is a problem with the fact that she is so heavily pregnant and at a club, or is having a I don't think it's even physically possible for a person that pregnant to go to a club.
That's a good point.
Yeah, it's... And, like, I couldn't get her vibe because when the earlier scene when she's at the party, someone's like, oh, who are you? Are you some Spice Girls? And she goes, no, I'm just a nobody. And it's like, oh, that's sad.
Which is
it's almost like being a mother has ruined her for Spice Girling, and, like, that was her ambition, but then she had to leave the group. Although I guess they didn't know she was pregnant until they saw her, or did they?
No, I think they knew. They didn't seem surprised she was pregnant. They were just excited about it.
Right. But it's the godmother thing that's new, right? Or something. She's like asked them to be the baby's godmother.
She asked them to be 5 separate godmothers for this one child. Yeah. Which, I mean, you're allowed to do that, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe not by the rules of the Catholic Church, but, in your life, go nuts.
Mm-hmm.
So end of the movie, they're helping. They're not helping, but they're with their pregnant friend as she's giving birth. Also,
they're helping. They're doing most of the work. They have to tell the doctors when they show up. Like, by the way, pregnant lady.
Yeah. Also, as part of the girl power message of this movie, the evil man ran away.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Like,
is that part of
like,
the girl power message, or did they just not want to hire another actor?
Maybe. I mean, if that's the case, it should have been someone we knew. It should have been the bus driver or something. Make Meatloaf the dad.
The dad.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Or rather, I guess, a reason for why they would need to stay to support her instead of, say, the father.
Right, yeah.
Right. So, they're helping deliver this baby, I guess. And all 5 of them get to be the godmother, because she asked.
Yep.
And I forget. They overheard like a conversation of someone like, "Yeah, I'm going to the Spice Girls concert. I'm so excited," even though the Spice Girls are right there and like they're not recognizing their people they're excited for.
It's
and,
the
like, the
two
Spice Girls have
nurses
this, like,
who are the only 2 people in the room besides their friend and the Spice Girls, seemingly oblivious to the fact that the Spice Girls are right there.
Right, and you figure, like, maybe the nurse that comes in and is like, hey, by the way, I'm going to a Spice Girls concert. Maybe she doesn't know. But her friend that's a nurse that delivered the baby definitely knows. And I'm almost, like, mad. I'd be really mad if I got into work the next day and, like, hey, why didn't you tell me that those were the Spice Girls? Like, I just told you I liked them. I wouldn't have made a big deal out of it, but, like, come on. We're friends, right?
And between these scenes, we can't forget that they get a little boy out of a coma by talking about flashing him.
Oh yeah.
Again, this is why I think Ginger's supposed to be the hot one. That's her thing. And she's like, I'll flash him my boobs, and then he wakes up. I'm not saying
no. It's Posh says like, why don't you flash him your boobs? And
right.
She's like, I'm not going to do that. Besides, his eyes are closed. He won't even notice. And then his eyes shoot open.
So sure, I'm not saying that that's how she would define herself, but I do think the world of the movie universe has decided that she is almost like she is the most, I don't know, attractive of the spices. I remember another bit. I can't remember what this bit was, but at one point there's like a joke where, oh God, I'd have to see it again, but they're like, look what they're wearing. And she like looks down at her boobs and makes a face like, oh, they noticed that I have boobs. I don't remember why. It was very early in the movie, but I did get that vibe. That the movie wanted to think that she is.
I don't know. I think there might be just like a subconscious psychosexual thing going on here, Nando. I think
there's nothing wrong with that.
Attracted to Ginger Spice.
I mean, sure, probably. But I just think the movie, I think it's more of a consequence of Ginger Spice not having a defined role, that whenever something like that had to happen, it was a Ginger Spice thing. And it's like, well, what's this one doing in this scene? She's lifting weights. What's this one doing? Dolls. And then this one's, Ginger needs some lines. Okay, I think I figured out some for her. Because isn't the Pope's Catholic line a response to something about boys or something?
Because they're talking about, do you have time for boys? And they're like, like a rental service, you use them and you're done with them and you chuck them. And then they're like, but you do like boys. And Ginger says, is the Pope Catholic?
See, again, that's...
How much worse can this accent get every time I impersonate them?
I love it so much.
That's all I'm saying, is it does seem like she got all those lines. Not all those lines, but a bunch of them. So they have to go... But, DJ, the concert, you said there's a concert, but they're at the hospital. So they're not at the concert.
And they can't abandon their friend because the friendship is the most important thing. Mm-hmm. But when they hear these nurses who are fans, they're like, wait, our fans are the most important thing. So they're like...
We've forgotten what the most important thing is. Money.
Yeah. Performing the Protestant work ethic. Giving ourselves up to the corporation.
The gospel of wealth. If you're rich, that means you are necessarily of good character.
You can buy all the friends you want then. Get them all pregnant.
Oh. Well, luckily, they don't have to choose, because around this moment, the baby's like, I'm coming out. So the baby is delivered successfly, and a very hairy baby comes out. Such a weirdly hairy baby. And the Spice Girls are sweet.
Hey,
we're going to bounce.
That's my nickname. A weirdly hairy
Very hairy baby, yeah.
And unfortunately, they have to drive their own bus because Meatloaf's just, like, not around or whatever.
And there's no taxis or anything like that.
Taking a nap on the dirt or something? Because after they drive off, he just, like, gets up from out of frame and is like, that's my bus!
Yeah, and also, but, like, it's so funny because the friend is, like, having the baby, and then the friend has the baby, and they're like, oh, good, we just wanted to make sure we saw the baby be had. We can go now, right? We're good.
Right.
You don't need us for moral support, or you don't want to talk to... No? Okay, see ya. Goodbye. But yeah, they get on the bus, and then the movie forgets what it is for a third or fourth time and becomes something completely different. And
I love it, though.
Flash back to the guy from Cheers, Norm from Cheers.
Oh, it's not a flashback. This is happening concurrently.
Right. I mean, like, flashback, like, let's go back to this character. Like, remember? Because we see him a little bit earlier in where he is some sort of Hollywood type who's, like, watches the Spice Girls on TV, and he's like, whoa, this is it. Can you pitch me a Spice Girls movie? And then the writer who lives in his house is like, the Spice Girls... go do a movie, and then he's like, great, we'll have a meeting tomorrow. And they have several meetings with Richard Grant throughout the movie where they are pitching him the movie we're watching, but a good one. But like, and he's like not into it, but kind of into it. I couldn't quite get the vibe.
He goes back and forth with how he feels.
I think he doesn't like the concepts they're saying, but he is pro Spice Girls movie.
Yeah. But yeah, so we check back with him and like Norm and Richard E. Grant, and Norm and this screenwriter friend are pitching the dramatic conclusion to the Spice Girls movie.
Mm-hmm. As it's happening.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. He's describing the events that are happening in the film. That's crazy.
Call me basic. I enjoyed it in context. Like I said, I'm a cheap date, and I'm like, this is cute.
See, again, like, this is me not wanting the movie to commit more. Just commit, fucking ninjas. Do weird shit. Like, have like, because it's like, that's the joke is like, why do they have not enough time to get there? Because that's the rules, and it's like, okay, cute. But, so, then, yeah, figure out some other thing. Really, really go at this parody movie angle, because they kind of do it sometimes, but other times it's just like what's already happening. And there's even the bit where they drive by Buckingham Palace. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
And they're like, and then you see the Queen, and she waves at the guys, and we don't see that. Weird.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I guess they couldn't get hire a royal lookalike in time.
Yeah, right. I was honestly like, well, you know, people really did like the Spice Girls. Maybe they got the real Queen. Who knows? She did the Olympics that one time. Maybe this is like a rare public appearance. But yeah, no, she's not there. And then, why did they get on top of the bus? I can't remember.
That's one of those things where the screenwriter's like, just like, that's the rules. They're just suddenly on top for no reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, and there were bits there where, like, it was being narrated and it was like, and they're on top of the bus. Or, like, and all 5 girls on top of the bus. And then someone's like, wait, who's driving? And then it's like, oh, right, one of them's driving. 4 on the bus. And I feel like, as a movie, you would want all 5 to be on the bus. And then they say that, and then one just disappears. You know? Like, visually, I also don't think it committed super well to all of the jokes.
That is not what it says. Is like, I would agree that would be a funny execution of the joke. It is not the line as it is spoken.
Isn't that the line?
No, he's like he's saying like one of them falls, but another one catches them. But then she starts to fall, so then the third one catches them. Then she starts to fall, so the fourth one catches them. Is that all of them? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, right, one's driving. So he never actually says 5 are on top. He's just like losing track of where they are.
Yeah. And then there's a bomb, kind of.
Yeah, he goes, and then the bomb. It's like, a bomb? We can't have a bomb. All right, there's no bomb. It's like, all right, it's kind of cute.
Or is there a bomb, DJ?
Or is there a bomb? Yeah.
Oh.
Did somebody watch the post-credits scene?
Yeah, there's a bomb, because then it goes off later. Spoiler alert. But, yeah, I don't know. Like I said,
and then there's the bit
right.
with the bridge.
I did enjoy... Oh, wait, no, yeah, do the bridge first. Do the bridge.
Yeah, so they're at the Tower Bridge, and so like they're racing to get to the concert, and Posh is driving, and she's speeding, and like, oh, they have to raise the bridge to let a boat go through, and but Posh is speeding anyway, and she's like, hold on to your knickers, girls. Also, I did a quick pause here. This is like a stupid nitpicky thing, but I noticed that the speedometer was primarily in miles per hour, and it probably would have been primarily in kilometers per hour. Just saying, but whatever.
Well, I mean, Meatloaf isn't British. He only understands speed in miles. You know, that's why you have an American,
yeah, right.
cab driver. What the heck was that, actually, now that I'm thinking about it? It is weird that Meatloaf is the musical celebrity.
It's insane.
Right? Where's
It's
David
insane.
Bowie? You're a British one.
No, I gotta get Meatloaf. So they're like, oh, they're gonna drive over the bridge, because now Richard Grant's getting into the movie pitch, and they're like, yeah, she's gonna drive over the bridge, and I forget who says it, but like, oh, we'll never be able to pay to show that. So then they cut to this like little like model, like teeny tiny model, like stop motion thing where the bridge just goes like over the where the bus goes like over the bridge, just like these little toy models.
Yeah, might as well be made out of like cardboard.
Yeah, right? Like, it would have been done in, like, I don't know, some kind of, like, cheaply made, like honestly, like, that's like an Auntie Donna thing would have done, like, oh,
yeah,
the bus goes over the bridge now. I thought it was great.
As long as we're nitpicking, also, Buckingham Palace and the Royal Albert Hall are on the same side of the Thames, and also nowhere near Tower Bridge in the first place. So there's absolutely no reason you would have to cross any bridge to get from one to the other, let alone Tower Bridge.
That's a good nitpick. I like that, Diggins.
Well, that's the kind of thing that a George Wendt type wouldn't know, because he ain't no Brit. He's an American man. He's like, we're going to all the landmarks, even the ones that are next to each other in different orders. It'll be so great. And then they make it, and Richard Grant doesn't kill himself in the movie.
Thank goodness.
Thank
goodness.
But I was going to say, I do also enjoy the screenwriter is describing what's happening, and he says, and then the Spice Girls burst through the door right there. And then that doesn't happen, and Richard D. Grant just starts choking him. Just like one hand shoots out, and he just like starts choking the life out of this guy. It's
That's
good.
why I do think Richard D. Grant is the unsung hero of the movie. Like, without him, this movie would be borderline unwatchable. But he's a good actor. Like, he really pulls the room together.
And like I said, he like sells it for this movie. He sells it.
He commits. If only J.J. Abrams was able to take advantage of that during Rise of Skywalker. He could really have gotten something special.
If only J.J. Abrams was capable of taking advantage of anything.
It's true. Yeah, that's kind of it. I feel like there's probably some more stuff. There's the end. The end.
Which is they do the concert at the Royal Albert Hall. That's
and then
That's the ending.
No. There is the end of the end of the end. It's a really weird, like, kind of post-credits-y thing.
Oh, that, yeah.
Yeah.
Which just... I'm not sure if it's supposed to be the behind the scenes of this film, or if it's supposed to be them filming the film that gets pitched in this film.
I think it's the second thing, and I can't remember why. I had a reason, though, and I forget what it is.
Is it because of the bomb?
No. Is it because, like, there's something... I mean, I guess in theory there's not a lot that separates them, but I want to say there's some line that does designate that, where, like, what's his name? The guy, Norm, is on set saying something. I can't remember what it is.
The screenwriter is on set telling Richard O'Brien how, like, playing the villain will be good for him.
Maybe that's it then? I don't know. But yeah, then they talk to us, which, oh my God. Talk about bits. It was very riffy. That felt very like, just go do some Spice Girl stuff.
Yeah, be fun.
Yeah, do whatever your thing is. And, like, you're going to say you have a cool dress. And I don't know. That's the only one that I remembered. But they look at the camera
They talk
for
about
a while.
a couple snogging in the back.
Yeah.
What was that?
Well, listen,
Gold
I only
member
had so
over
many.
here.
I only had so many places to go to make it worse.
Is a couple snogging in the back?
Snogging in the back.
I'm gonna cook up you little pretties into a fine stew.
That's a Spice Girl I could... just like Mama Spice, the oldest Spice Girl who just wants to eat all the other Spice Girls. That would be great. That's what the movie should have been. A sixth Spice Girl gets introduced who's like evil Spice. And she tears the group apart from within. The Spice Girls keep telling Richard E. Grant, like, I think she's evil. It's what we call her. And they're like, no. That's just like for branding. She's actually pretty cool. And then she like kills a bunch of them. I don't know. Oh, yeah. Describe the Clue thing real quick. Or not the Clue, but the Poirot thing. Do you remember?
I barely remember this bit, Diggins.
It's just while they're expressing vague dissatisfaction with their shticks for a little bit. Baby's like, I don't want to be seen as helpless and innocent on me love. And I think it's Posh goes like, oh, but you got that smile. You flash that smile, you could get away with anything. And then they have this little scene where Hugh Laurie is playing Poirot, about to accuse her of murder because she's like wearing bandoliers and carrying a machine gun and obviously is the murderer. But then she smiles at him and he accuses someone else.
Very Poirot of him. He just loves to let people get away. And
Poirot.
It's it's like a little cutaway thing you kind of see on like a Family Guy or something like that.
They do a few of those in this movie.
Yeah. To varying successes. Yeah, I don't know. It is interesting.
I mean, I think
I do
how
know.
you feel about this movie.
I wish it was good. I wish it was better. I think here's the thing with Spice Girls for me, honestly. I think like there's parts of Space Jam, right, which is not the same kind of thing, but is an equally kind of silly relic of the mid to late 90s where kind of a brand decided to do a movie based on the brand. And like Space Jam's even worse because it's like a shoe commercial. But they they managed to use the tools of good movie making to turn it into something that I'd actually pretty much watch no matter what. And yeah, the Looney Tunes are, fun and in ways that the Spice Girls just aren't. But like not just aren't, but like, there's the Looney Tunes. But I do think there's parts where I'm like, yeah, you could do this. You can if you commit to something, you could do like, the Lego movie, and we've seen movies that have been shameless kind of promotions of materials or things like that, and they can be pretty fun. But
like Josie and the Pussycats.
Yeah, or like even like
well, that's a contemporaneous film, which
I'm
actually does.
Think
this movie does very much remind me of that, except Josie and the Pussycats is genuinely really good.
So yeah, like I wish it was more of that, because then I think I'd actually want to watch it. If someone's like, "Yo, you want to put in Spice World?" I'd be like, "Hell yeah!" But now if someone's like, "You want to put in Spice World?" I'd be like, how long's it been since you've seen it? You might not like it as much as you thought. It might not have as many miles on it, which is a shame because I do enjoy all the music mostly. I think it's pretty fun. I think they're fine as a band and like as a concept. I mean, you know, fun. They're all the best one. Except for Ginger. She's the villain of the group. According to Billy Butcher from The Boys.
I don't know. This is like a weird, like I said, it's like a weird psychosexual thing where Nando hates Ginger but is also attracted to her.
Maybe that's what makes me. Maybe like I like that she's the bad girl of the group that like wants to destroy the Spice Girls. Maybe that's what I like about her is they just keep trying to rationalize it. It's like I want someone to end this movie, and like Ginger is very well, but probably the reason there is no Spice Girls 2, you know, because she left the band and the band ended. So maybe there's part of me that's like, thank you, Ginger, for doing what you've done. Destroying this group. I don't know. I mean, she's, you know, they're all attractive.
Are you
mostly.
saying that you're the editor from this, the newspaper editor from this movie?
Maybe. Yeah. I could live with that. He's having fun. I mean, he's kind of disgraced, and none of the things he do like matters. But that's just because this movie, nothing anybody does in this movie matters.
Listen, Nando, if you're that guy, you just had to wait another 20 or so years. Let me tell you, sleazy tabloid journalists in Britain are riding high on the hog these days.
That's a good point. That is a good point. So, yeah, I don't know. Do any of you guys have a musician or band that you'd actually like something like this? Like you'd like to see someone take a shot at this?
Ooh. No.
Wow, what a quick and easy answer.
I don't really listen to music is the thing. I know that sounds like a weird thing, but I don't. So I don't like have bands I like, really. So there's
even
just,
like from back in the day?
Yeah, no, never. I've never really been a person who's big into music as a thing.
What about
that
you,
sounds
DJ?
like weird to say. It's like someone saying, like, I don't like movies ever at all, any of them. And I mean, like, I'll listen to music and I'll have a good time, but it's just, it doesn't interest me in any real way. So I don't have favorite bands or anything. I don't have groups I've followed. So there's literally nothing in my life that I can think of that would be that for me.
See, so I do have like music that I listen to and like, but I like none of them have like it wouldn't work for it's like, oh, let's look at all these personalities like do crazy stuff together. Like I'm trying to think of what would be like off the wall. Yeah, like because like Nando, you said like you two, like, oh, what if you two did this and like it would just be boring because you know I don't know, I can't see that being fun.
They're kind of like serious in a way that I don't think this would work with. In the way that like they have to, you know, you can't have like a comedy sketch followed by like Sunday Bloody Sunday or something. But like a band, I'm trying to think of like a fun kind of pop band that we don't hate now, like a Smash Mouth who, you know, they're bad, but like a good one of those. It's like from childhood who you'd be like, yeah, you could make that, but I can't think of any.
I'd
it's
watch
hard.
the Carly Rae Jepsen with the sword movie.
Oh yeah, that'd be fun.
This thing we're looking for is like it's like so specific. It's actually like a wonder that this movie, I don't know, like exists.
I bet it made some money when it came out. And like,
oh yeah, and like the merchandising opportunities were.
It is the
insane.
highest grossing movie based on a musical act ever.
Goddamn right it is.
And I feel like movies like this pop up from time to time, right? Like Hannah Montana, I think had something similar to this, and it's not the same thing, but like, you know, musicians making movies based off of like that aren't just concert movies that are like kind of stories, kind of. But yeah, I don't know. It'd have to be someone that's really in on their joke. That it'd have to be someone that doesn't take themselves seriously at all. And then you could probably do something fun with it. Or it'd be like someone that like I'd like to see the Wu-Tang Clan go to space or something. Like that could be fun.
Bjork.
But Sure. Yeah, maybe. What the hell? Actually, you know what? The more I think about it, the more I think the Wu-Tang Clan's the one for me. Yeah, I don't know. I'd like to. I wish they tried this with like other bands too, like the Black Eyed Peas, that also aren't anything special, and just like tried to bank on their natural charisma, because it is kind of. It would be funny to watch a band I like dislike kind of try to do something like this. Because you know what? You remember? Because there was this, right? And then, do you guys remember? What's it called? Glitter.
I don't.
It was like it was a Mariah Carey movie. So I have a feeling what happened was after Spice World, a lot of people in Hollywood were like, what musician can we build a movie around? So I'm pretty sure there's a movie called Crossroads with Britney Spears, right? And like Zoe Saldana, maybe? That was like and that's like not she's not Britney Spears, the musician in it, but she's like that's her like star vehicle. And then they did Glitter with Mariah Carey, and like neither of those worked. But it seems like that kind of killed the brand. But yeah, I'm surprised like Beyonce never did this. You know,
well, she's all about like visual albums, but that's like a different.
I mean, she is now, but like what 2004 Beyonce, like that feels like prime Beyonce. I could see.
Yeah, fair.
But she also not takes herself super seriously, but kind of does. A little bit.
Yeah, it's like how much are you willing to like joke?
I'd need someone
like
who's
about yourself,
who's funny on SNL, like, and you're like, oh yeah, that guy can do it, or like she can do it. But I don't know who it would be. I don't know. It'll be Doja Cat or something in 5 years.
Oh God,
Lil Nas X maybe. I don't know.
You're so right though.
Are you guys ready for the
fun.
Ninja
I
movie?
bet he could do a funny one of these. Ooh yeah, that would be great. Let's get Ninja or one of the Pauls. Or you know who needs to do this? The one who cheated at Minecraft. I don't even know what his name is. Circle?
Oh yeah, him.
Something like that.
Dream.
That's it. Everybody should make a movie. Speaking of movies, do you guys want to get to our classic segment?
I would love
the one
that.
about movies?
Well, sometimes movies are part of it.
It's often about movies.
Yeah, movie
true.
adjacent. You guys want to recommend something to the fine people?
Yeah.
All right, what do you got, DJ?
All right, so I talked about this a little bit prior to starting recording. I didn't do a lot of I was trying to think what I did this week. You know what I did this week? I watched fucking sports. My Saturday and Sunday, I watched all of Wild Card Weekend.
Oh my God, Nickelodeon Wild Card Weekend.
I got to give it to your man Sean Payton for actually getting slimed.
Yeah, that was fun. Although, why wasn't it a Gatorade thing full of slime dumped on him at the victory immediately as he won the game, you know?
There's no way they could have coordinated that. So I have like a bunch of theories on how this was supposed to go down. First of all, there's so many good things about the Nickelodeon game. Mitch Trubisky, the quarterback for the losing team, won the MVP, the Nickelodeon Valuable Player. There was this 13-year-old kid who had the trophy, and it was with the blimp, the Nickelodeon. It wasn't like the blimp itself. It was like the Lombardi trophy, but instead of a football on top, it was like the Nickelodeon blimp.
Love it. And
he's like, Mitch Trubisky wins this award. He'll get it later, because the plan was whoever got voted would have been on the winning team, and they'd give it to him, interview him, and slime him. Which is why the whole thing should have just been staged. I think there was actual voting, Trubisky for MVP was trending on Twitter. Crazy shit. God, that broadcast was so damn good. I would watch alternative broadcasts of football games.
Yeah, let all the networks take a crack at it. See the Bravo, see the MTV football game.
Wouldn't a Bravo one be so good? Just get Real Housewives and stuff to commentate. Oh my God,
yeah,
it would be
fuck
so
it. Maybe
good.
It'll be cool. Also,
didn't somebody
speaking
get
of fuck
slimed?
it. Oh yeah,
So-
Sean Payton.
Sorry.
Yeah, but it was it wasn't it was staged afterwards. Was the weird part about it. There was a Twitter video. It was way after everything was over. But the coach like said like he promised that if they won he would get slimed. So then like he posted a Twitter video that like they posted. So it was kind of weak. But like the plan was definitely like to slime whoever won the MVP. So the interview after was with Cam Jordan, and he was like, if you slime me, I will kill you. He didn't say that, but it was like real awkward. So he's like, I'm not getting slimed. And apparently in an interview afterwards, they were like, why didn't you want to get slimed? And he's like, I didn't care about it getting on my clothes, but I didn't want to get into my pads. And I'm like, that makes sense. Because I think they only get like one pair of pads for the season. Because the pads are like really expensive. And like that would probably suck if the slime was just all up in your pads.
Right.
So I got you, Cam Jordan. Anyway, so that was fun. I watched that all weekend.
How about, did somebody drop an F-bomb?
Yeah, one of the players after a foul was just like...
yeah. It's a language enhancer.
He was like, what the fuck? And like that just like got over the television airwaves.
So fun.
So that was fun. And then the other part that was good, so like Michelle like pointed this out, was like we were watching the broadcast and they were like doing things where they were explaining certain parts of like the football game, and she had said, oh man, I wish I could watch like this kind of broadcast for sports more often.
Yeah.
Where they're just like, like in basketball, like this is what, like why they're doing free throws now and what being in the bonuses. And I forget what it was that like she didn't know what the rule was. It was some like random obscure thing, but like they said it and it's like, oh, this is helpful. So I love the Nickelodeon broadcast. It's a shame it was such a bad game. It was like the second worst game of the weekend. But yeah, I thought I would hate Super Wild Card Weekend. Like, 6 games, but it was so much. I loved it so much. But that's not a recommendation. That's just like me being a trash lord. So here's what I'm recommending. Okay, so different like sports YouTube things I want to recommend. Now, before I recommend YouTube things, it's very important that you have to like go to Nando's page first. Like,
of course. I have to
say you got to subscribe to Nando V Movies on YouTube. Like and subscribe, all the things, and you have to do that before you go to any of these other things. It's like that's number one, very important.
But once you're finished with that, there's plenty of other YouTube to enjoy.
So, there's a YouTuber I love, Urinating Tree. He is a Pittsburgh Steelers fan who does a lot of sports commentary that's like really funny. He does things where he takes like franchises and picks them apart and shows all their failures. He does a recap of all the games every week that I like really enjoy. I just think in terms of like sports comedy, he's very good at like blending the two things. So Urinating Tree, that's really good. There's like a webtoon series called Gridiron Heights that Bleacher Report does that I love. They put them out every Tuesday, and it's just like they make a little like web cartoon. Sometimes it's like themed around like a parody of something. Like when Tom Brady was getting his 6th Super Bowl, they like made him Thanos, and like the rest of the like NFL teams were like all the different Avengers. That series is really good. Secret Base, they're like an analytics YouTube channel that does they do a bunch of different things. John Boyce is the main writer, so they do one thing where they'll take a game like FIFA or Madden and they'll try and like break it. Like they'll use like the like different like AI and scouting things to just like make really bad simulations of video games, which is fun. They'll do like franchise analytics. They'll look at like plays. Like they did one on like why the kickoff return is just bad in football and everything should be a punt. There should be no kickoff returns after scoring plays. That's a really good one. So yeah, those are like really good different sports YouTube pages to look at, and like I've been watching a lot of because like different sports coverages. Yeah. Sorry I don't have like a stronger... I've been getting back into Arkham Horror, the card game. Michelle and I were picking it up again because we wanted like... We always have like a weird relationship with Arkham Horror, the card game, because like we play a lot and then we burn out and then we're like, well, let's try like a different campaign or these different characters. And I got some new packs, so like we're picking that up again. But I know I've recommended that like 1,000 times. And like Gloomhaven, but we've been playing that again to much enjoyment. So I'm like, what was I doing this past week? So, yeah, like really soft weekend for me on Rex. But yeah, I think this weekend, Michelle's never seen any of the Lord of the Rings movies, so I think we're going to watch those this weekend.
Oh,
Damn,
those are
that's
fun.
a commitment.
It, like, I don't know, we did all Star Wars, like, going into New Year's, and, like, I don't think, it's just the 3, not, like, the Hobbit movies, like, just, like, the,
Well, yeah.
whatever.
No one should watch the Hobbit movies. As someone who saw every Hobbit movie in theaters, nobody should watch the Hobbit movies.
Nah, I'm with you.
Yeah.
But like, is like, Lord of the Rings more of a commitment than Star Wars? Feels like about the same in
Well-
terms of runtime.
Total runtime, it depends if you're doing the extended editions or not.
I feel like the first Lord of the
So-
Rings has to be long. A New Hope is like pretty tight. So like I feel like the Lord of the Rings
that's my
movies-
point. Like if you're watching like the whole like saga of Star Wars, like the total runtime is probably going to end up being longer there, but it's just like Lord of the Rings is 12 hours spread over 3 movies. Each movie you're in for the long haul.
All right, so here's a question for you guys. So, like, Michelle's never seen any of the Lord of the Rings, and like doesn't even have like a lot of knowledge of the Lord of the Rings universe, like no books, nothing like that. But like likes the high fantasy genre and stuff like that. Do I do just like vanilla theatrical release Lord of the Rings, or do we watch the extended cuts?
So I think the extended cuts are good.
Okay.
I think that they're like totally worth watching and like not even like a bad entry point. They're totally could be watched by someone, but someone who knows nothing about Lord of the Rings and be a good experience. I used to be more puritanical about this, but I have come to accept in the wisdom of old age that the original theatrical releases are also perfectly good movies and probably tighter narratives if you think retention is going to be a problem. So I mean, it's kind of up to you guys. It's like, would you rather have the more streamlined experience, or would you like the full 4-hour fit in all the details things?
Okay. Do you have any thoughts, Nando?
I've never been a huge Lord of the Rings guy, so I'd say skip them. I don't know. The first one, I don't know. Whichever version you watch, you gotta scream about how what's his name broke his foot that one time when that happens.
He didn't break his foot. He stepped on a shard of glass that went through his foot.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought he broke. I thought he kicked the helmet so hard his foot broke.
Oh, yeah. We're talking about two different things. Yes, that did happen.
Yeah. You gotta tell that because that's something. Oh, and you have to scream about taking the Hobbit's to Isengard. That's fun too. Besides
we'll do the 10 hours on loop for that one.
Yeah. There's a fun version of Die Young by Kesha where they changed all the words to words those guys say. So that's pretty fun.
I love that.
And that's one of them. It's because it's mostly just all of the words that she says, like young something out of. I know, it's different. Different characters from the movie saying
cuts
it.
the different characters.
Yeah, except at one point they just do it. She's taking the Hobbit's eyes on guard, and it's fun to hear. I don't know. Yeah, they're fun.
So, yeah, sorry for the not strong Rex audience. I'll be better about not just mainlining sports coverage. I had a real problem this week, man. I was too deep in this.
Why?
Stuff.
Did anything interesting happen this week?
Yeah,
anything
you
exciting?
need to distract yourself from or something?
Yeah. Who could blame an American in this troubled time?
Well, so that's all I got, guys. Sorry.
All right, Diggins, you got anything to recommend?
Yes, I do. I was going to do this one second, but this is the perfect segue, actually. Speaking of returning to old comforts into a troubled time, I've started yet another new playthrough of Fallout New Vegas.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
I saw you were playing that. I was sneaking on you.
What mods you got, Diggins?
Yeah, did a new mod come out?
No, I've actually never played much with mods before, so I basically just threw on a few ones that make the game look a lot prettier. Since it is an 11-year-old game at this point, it's starting to show its age. So yeah, I got some new texture packs, character redesigns to make the character models look better. What else? some some like unofficial patches and stuff, bug fixes, make the game crash less often. And of course, the most important mod, which is the one for the ink blot test at the beginning of the game that helps determine what your tagged skills are. The one that adds two bears high-fiving for the option that absolutely looks like two bears high-fiving.
That's great.
That is fun.
But yeah, that's just... I'm sure you hardly need me to tell you how Fallout New Vegas is a great game. It's one of my favorite games ever. It's probably the best like open world RPG game ever made. Just the writing is just so strong. Every quest is like cool and interesting. The world is so fleshed out, and the whole central conflict between the New California Republic and Caesar's Legion is just endlessly compelling. I love that game. It is you start playing it and you're constantly compelled forward. It is so well designed, so well written, just a fantastic open world RPG. If you've never played it, I cannot recommend it highly enough. You can buy it at this point for like $5 off Steam. So, go nuts.
Diggins.
Yes?
Sorry, just while we're on this, I have a weird like tack on to this. So, a friend of ours from college, Stephanie Hazen, you guys remember, apparently there's like a new mod coming out for Fallout New Vegas. I guess by the time it's released, it will have already came out on January 15th, called The Frontier, and it's like this big ass like mod that adds a lot of story stuff to Fallout New Vegas. I don't know, maybe if you'll try it out if you're playing. And she did voice work for it, so I don't know.
Wow.
Check that. Yeah, she's a like the characters you can recruit to be like on your team
Companion.
or whatever. Like yeah. She's like one of the companions, and she's also like an enemy. So she was like, I had the fun experience of recruiting myself and then killing myself. But yeah, so I don't know. Like she said, it's basically like just a new game for Fallout New Vegas. But yeah, it's a Steam mod called The Frontier for Fallout New Vegas. So I'll throw that out there, and then Diggins, if you get a chance to play, then you can tell us how it is.
Fallout New Vegas is so old that Steam mods are not a thing for that game. You gotta go on Nexus.
Oh, or like whatever. I just said that because I'm like a basic person that doesn't know things. But yeah, this is like a new like mod for it. Anyway, continue, sir.
The other thing, real quick, is just a friend of mine and I have started doing. There's this. I'm going to link it in the chat. Basically, a kind of challenge based around the Criterion Collection for 2021. Basically, you watch a movie from the Criterion Collection centered around a theme for every week of the year.
Yeah.
So I've been doing that this year so far. Obviously, there's only been 2 weeks when we're recording this. So
feels
for the first
like
week,
way more.
I know, right? For the first week, I watched Blood Simple, Joel and Ethan Coen's first movie, which is very good. It's you very much see the beginnings of their like very distinctive style in kind of the black comedy, the crimes committed by stupid people kind of thing. It's really good. And then the second week, the category being directed by Akira Kurosawa, I watched The Bad Sleep Well, which is he's very well known amongst Americans for his like samurai films. But he also did a fair amount of, at the time, modern crime thrillers. And this is one of those. It's about a guy seeking revenge amidst corporate corruption in post-war Japan. It's really good and, unfortunately, extremely timely in many ways right now, even though it was made in 1960. So... those are just two quick movie recs, both extremely famous and well-regarded movies. So again, you don't really need me to recommend them for you. But hey, that's what I did this week, and I had a good time doing it.
Cool.
That's awesome.
I'm gonna wreck a couple quick ones. So, excuse me. I haven't read it yet, but I picked up. Well, you know what? So things I have read. I forget if I said this. DC is doing like Future Comics now. It's confusing, kind of, and I don't even really know what it is. But they put out some comics like Future Batman and Future Wonder Woman, or it's like the Future State or Slate. I honestly don't even know which one it is. But the Wonder Woman, her name is Yara Flor, I think. It's a really, really pretty book. It's pretty interesting. She's like Brazilian, I think, or something. Not quite sure what the deal is with that yet. But the other thing I'm reading now that just came back is Kieran Gillen, who I've talked about on the podcast before, who wrote like Die and Once and Futures, writing an Eternals series that I'm very excited about. Haven't read yet, but just got in my hand, so I'm going to read it probably once this ends. Beyond that, I watched. You ever watched the other day that I was like, we were kind of looking for something to watch on streaming, and I forget if we were just scrolling through it, but the Kung Fu Hustle popped up. That movie's fun. It's a good time. I like that movie. I don't think I'm, breaking any new ground with that being a fun movie. And I think it was on Netflix, maybe. Also, the show Earth to Ned is back, and I love that show. It's a weird, like, talk show hosted by an alien on Disney Plus, and it's fantastic. Other one, the real thing I want to recommend that's like my big rec for the week. I don't know if either of you guys do either of you guys watch, or did you watch Yu-Gi-Oh! The Abridged series?
Yes, sir.
Did you see he's back?
What?
Yep.
Are you serious?
Lil Karibo is back. New episode came out last week.
Oh,
dang.
my God.
Yeah, I know. I believe, I'm not positive about this, but I want to say there was some sort of health issue that took Little Karibo away from making episodes of that show, so it ended in like the 70s or 80s, kind of in the middle of nowhere. And then I don't know if we knew it was coming or what. I don't like follow him on Twitter, but new episode, still great. And
Nice.
You don't need to have watched the other ones, so you can just pick up right there. But it's just so funny. I don't know. I loved that. Making fun of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is really funny, but it's funny. I guess it's funny both ways. It's funny if you've seen it, and if it's going back to episodes that you know, and you're like, oh, yeah, that is funny that this guy's going to do this, whatever. It's also funny to watch episodes about a season of Yu-Gi-Oh! That you've never seen, and they're introducing characters, and it's like the show like reacts to them. You seeing them for the first time in Yu-Gi-Oh! The Abridged series is like very funny, because it adds another level of like silliness, and it just makes the show itself look more absurd. Even though like a magician, card player, like if you see the new one, you'll know what I'm talking about. But like I'm sure in universe that's a little silly, but in this it's quite silly. So yeah, I'd recommend that if you've never seen it. You look up Yu-Gi-Oh! The Abridged. Like I said, there's like 80 episodes. They're each like varying lengths, but it's just the whole of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Show redubbed over by the voice actor who does impressions of all of them, and it's funny, and it's really silly. So that was a nice treat.
Nice.
Yeah, that was not what I was expecting in 2021, but more Yu-Gi-Oh! The Abridged is pretty cool. Next week, what are we doing next week, guys?
Are we doing Fast and Furious?
I think so. I think we'll do Fast and Furious. The fourth
Four
one.
Fast, Four Furious.
That's right. I have seen this one, but it's the one that I remember the least. So this is going to be an experience for me. This is the first one with Wonder Woman, I think, right? Number 4 when she shows up. So that's something.
I believe so. Yeah.
Really?
It's
I
gotta
don't know
be.
Gal Gadot showed up that early in the series.
Well, I mean, she doesn't last super long.
Yeah, it's only 3 movies. 4, 5, 6.
And 5 is the one where they're getting the whole team back together. So
Yeah.
unless she-
So
yeah,
Yeah, you're
so-
right. Fast and Furious. That was her first movie ever.
Really? Wow.
Shocked,
Yeah.
right? Sure wasn't in some Hamlet. Just kidding. She's fine. Yeah, Fast and Furious is the Fast and Furious movies are great. I really can't wait for F9. I kind of forgot about that, but maybe this year we'll finally see that goddamn movie where John Cena is is his little brother.
Oh my god.
Yeah, right. I like John Cena. This could be a big year for John Cena now that I think about it. Between Suicide Squad and F9, this could be the year of Cena.
This could be when he finally becomes The Rock.
Yeah, when he finally like breaks through, and because he's had moments where you're kind of like, oh yeah, he was kind of fun in Transformers or whatever, but like, I never felt like the roles quite knew what to do with him. But I could see this being the year. So look forward to that, I guess.
We shall see.
Yeah. Anything to plug, fellas?
For me, nothing new. Check out Roses and Rejections on the Pop Break Podcast Network. We are continuing to cover Matt James's season. I hate the villain so far. She sucks.
Oh, what about that thing that I sent you, DJ? The thing with the
Oh
Disney
my god,
princes? That was pretty funny.
I'm so glad you sent it. It was like a little TikTok video where like this guy's pretending to be the Bachelor and like going over each of the Disney princes, and who he picks makes so much sense.
I was going to say, I'm really glad he made the right choice.
I mean,
It's not who I would pick, but I get it.
yeah,
It's who I would pick.
It's not who I would pick
Well-
for the main reason. The reason that I think it's an insane pick in any sense, but the he definitely got rid of the he got the riffraff out pretty quick. All the identical
Yeah,
princes.
I'm looking for love. I was in stitches in that video.
That's pretty funny. What about you, Diggins? Do you have anything to recommend?
You mean to plug?
To recommend of your own?
Oh my god, Tenet! We're going in Tenet order.
Oh my god.
We'll never be free. Yes. As I mentioned last week, I have my newsletter, A Little Perspective. I think by the time this goes up, I should have a top 10 movies of 2020 up.
Oh.
So
No,
look out for that. When I say look out for that, if everything goes according to plan, it'll be up by the time you hear these words. But you can go to alittleperspective.substack.com to see if I'm a goddamn liar or not.
Now the stakes are high. I'm very excited.
That's why
about
I'm
that.
doing it.
Let's see. I don't really have anything to plug that's like specific news stuff. Like I put out a video recently. I think I'm going to do like a Wonder Woman series soon, but that might take a teeny tiny bit of time. So we will see. But definitely I'm looking forward to WandaVision. We'll probably talk about that a little bit next week. Maybe not spoiling it, but that is Thursday night, I assume, at like 3 a.m. So looking forward to that. Yeah. All right. So besides all that stuff, I am at Nando V Movies on Twitter.
I'm at Zippy by Day.
I'm at This Is an Odd Man.
Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye. Woo!
Bye. We love you.